Today we're going to be asking a simple question that it should easily, anyone watching should easily have an answer immediately for the question we're going to ask. And that is, in regards to this 37 count indictment that former President Trump is facing, in regards to this 37 count indictment, we have to ask the question, do you believe President Trump is 100% innocent? That's what we're going to be talking about today, because obviously having a commander-in-chief indicted by the feds is something that we all see as unfamiliar ground. It has never happened before. Nevertheless, we will go through this together. Will Trump end up taking a plea deal? The idea of a president, commander-in-chief, taking a plea deal with the feds never happened before in our lives. Never something we would have imagined in our wildest dreams. But that is the question. Do you believe President Trump is 100% innocent? It's a witch hunt. They're making this up. They're politicizing the feds to prevent President Trump from being number 47, trying to prevent him from being reelected. That is what you're hearing from many folks on the right side of the aisle, and even some on the left. So the question is he 100% innocent of what they're charging him with? So we're going to be talking about that today. As always, the program is and forever will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. If you disagree with the host, nobody gives a damn. You're entitled to your First Amendment free speech rights on this channel as long as you can have them. Now, we do go from folks that are left of Bernie Sanders all the way to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So understand you're going to hear a variety of opinions here, and none of them will be censored. Of course, the box is always open. Looking in the comments, Trumpers are U.S. traitors, says Smile for Your Mugshot. Wow, that's a hell of a name, Smile for Your Mugshot. Why do you suggest, feel free to elaborate in your comment, why do you suggest that folks who support President Trump are traitors to this nation? You'd have to admit there are some legitimate reasons, a host of legitimate reasons to support President Trump and remain as a patriot, such as protecting the sanctity of life. If you're pro-life, that doesn't make you any less of a patriot. So I'd like to hear the argument that automatically supporting Trump denotes you as a traitor. Looking in the comments, Trump is a loser, says Dub, a.k.a. that guy. Well, currently, he hasn't been convicted of anything. So you cannot quite attach the loser tag on to President Trump. Folks on the right tried to do the same to Hillary Clinton. As you know, she has not been convicted of anything. In fact, Hillary Clinton never was even indicted. I hate when people, says Jill, I hate it when people say we need to make America great again. It's always been great, just lost. Now, Jill, that's actually the opposite of what I typically get, because I'm African American. I often get folks asking, when the hell was this country great for people like you? So for you to suggest it always was great, just lost, is a totally unique perspective. Never heard that before. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 7,000 likes. I would appreciate I do appreciate the participation. You could be anywhere you want to be this Saturday. The fact you're here with your boy is an honor. We're going to go right to the box. Real quick in the comments, I've got a question, brother. What makes you African? And I'm on your side, but what makes you African? Well, the only reason we have a tag such as African American is what was bestowed upon us. Now, many folks in modern time would say, quit calling yourself black or African American or any of these other names. Just call yourself an American. Well, that's something new. If I was around in 1950, no one would have ever said that. So you have to understand, old habits die hard. We've been called African American for several generations continuously. To try to automatically expect this current generation to drop a label that's been around since the country itself, it's going to be kind of hard. That's not to say it may not happen, but when you ask what makes you African American, understand that is the label that was bestowed upon us, and that's why it is still being used to this day. Good question. Going to the box. We'll start the program off with Z-Pack. Good Z-Pack. We're asking the question, is President Trump 100% innocent? Good afternoon, Z-Pack.
Good afternoon, Mr. Handsome, the handsomest on TikTok.
I don't know about that, but President Trump, number 45, 100% innocent. What say you?
No, no way, no chance.
Mm.
Um, the issue has always been that um, like you have to the obstruction angle, right? So he obstructed this investigation for a year and a half. We know that this happened that way because we were given the timeline of events from the
Well,
Justice
but wait a
Department.
minute. Wait a minute. You're going to get the obvious question. Do you automatically assume what the feds is telling you is 100%, truthful without even giving the man a day in court?
I mean, yes, I do. I do,
Okay.
but maybe I'm naive. But again, I I think that we have the problem here is that we have actual people confirming that Donald Trump knew that these documents were classified and that he knew the process for it. And these weren't people like Michael Cohen. It's one thing if it's Michael Cohen and you've got like Michael Cohen being the whatever you want to call him, maybe not as reputable as some people, but these are his actual lawyers that admitted that he was behaving badly, essentially, and when it came
Yeah.
to these documents.
So you definitely do believe they got him by the short and curlies. You believe he's guilty of this.
I mean, I do. I think that if you read the actual indictment, there's a spot in there where Donald Trump asked a lawyer, well, not can we not just go like can we just hide the documents? Can we just take them away and just make them
Mm.
disappear? And it's like, what? No, you can't
Let
do
me let
that.
me ask you this, and I am aware of what you're talking about, and that does sound pretty damning. But let me ask you this: do you believe? Because many would suggest the only reason they're going after Trump is to prevent him from being reelected. They see him doing well in the polls, certainly among the Republicans, and even being highly competitive towards Biden. Do you believe if President Trump was not running for office, he would be still dealing with all this stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
You do.
Yeah, I
All
mean
right.
because there
So
are
you
people.
see them as.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. So you do see them holding him accountable. So we have to ask the question then. They did find documents in the possession of Mike Pence, President Biden, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She's also had classified material in her possession. And when it comes to Hillary Clinton, she wiped servers clean. She destroyed evidence. Any idea? Because you got to ask this because folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, is going to ask this. Why are they treating Trump differently in his handling of classified materials versus Pence, Biden, and Hillary Clinton?
Well, speaking directly about Biden and Pence, I can address Hillary Clinton, but speaking directly Biden and Pence, the difference is, as Bill Barr has said all along, that the obstruction was the problem. So clearly they've said to Pence, you know, we're not going to charge you because you voluntarily handed
Cooperating.
these over and it was an accident. You claim it was an accident. And this is what, when it comes to Comey with Hillary Clinton, he said that she acted extremely careless. So the idea was that she acted extremely careless. Those were his words. So we
But
knew.
I have to push back, and this is coming straight out of the comments from Marky Mark without the funky bunch. Marky Mark points out, now he says that's incorrect, that's not the law. But the point I believe folks are trying to make is that if it is a crime to be in possession of classified materials, just because you cooperate, that doesn't make it any less of a crime. In other words, if I was to go out and rob a bank and I had the loot at home, and the police told me come out with the loot and I came out with the loot, just because I cooperated still doesn't take away from the fact that I robbed the bank. So how are they? You don't see where there's still a crime being committed?
I mean, it appears that the feds, the DOJ, they don't have an issue with those classified materials being in the possession. They've already established that with Mike Pence. They said, we're not concerned about this. You'd have to ask them that question then. Why, why are they not making that a crime? I mean, because yes, you're right. I mean, nobody should have classified documents, but the amount of risk that Donald Trump put our country at when he had these documents, and the people who missed, there are people, soldiers that missed holidays to be with their family, to protect these documents, to protect these secrets that we have in our country. They missed birthdays of their children. I mean, these are this is why it is so serious. I mean, because these documents are so important, and he should come out and apologize to all those families who had to miss, their birthdays of their kids and all this stuff to secure these documents. These are just such salacious charges. I mean, I don't know if that's the
All
right
right.
word,
Let me.
but yeah.
I do have to move it on, but before I do, ask one last question. So,
Mhm.
let's say he did come out and apologize, as you are suggesting he should do. Are you okay with them maybe giving him some sort of a reprimand? You're not. Do you suggest that we actually lock up the former commander in chief of this country? Do you believe he should actually go to jail?
Yeah, nobody's above the law. I mean, that's the big selling point here. We absolutely should lock him up.
Mm,
Yes.
wow. 76. He is 76 years old. And you
Well,
want this man?
he's a
Wow.
dumb criminal. That's his fault.
All right, Z-Pack. It's been a pleasure
Yeah.
talking to you. Come on back anytime.
Same.
I do have to move it on. Absolutely. All right, looking in the comments here, if I can get my street. His age doesn't matter, and I asked that question, but at the end of the day, you folks are right. If you commit a crime, yeah, it doesn't matter what your age is. Nevertheless, we do understand our society, our judicial system does take into account a person's age. They do, period. Even though you're right, if you commit a crime, it should not matter, but they do take into account your age. And in President Trump's case, he has the added issue of having lifelong Secret Service protection. So if they were to incarcerate him, they would have to do it almost from a standpoint of solitary confinement or create an institution specifically designed to house the man because he's entitled to protection for the rest of his life. I'm gonna go back to the box, but I've said on a number of cases because of President Trump, I do believe once he is out of the picture, there will be a host of new laws that will be passed because President Trump has exposed a lot of issues with our system that the founding fathers created, where a lot of the presidential freedoms were based on the honor system. And there's a lot of things that are now making us probably rethink the honor system and paint a more black and white picture of what a president can and cannot do. But that's not going to happen until he's out of the picture. All right, going back to the box, we're asking the question: is President Trump 100% innocent? That is what we're going to be asking. And we'll keep it moving with life and above. Noon, welcome to the program. Is President Trump 100% innocent? Life and above. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. We're
Yeah,
talking about a commander in chief, 37 felony counts, depending on who you ask. Do
yeah.
you believe he's innocent of all this?
Um, I mean, we have to find out, I mean, we can't prosecute him ourselves with our own.
But we can speculate. That's what we're here for.
Right, right. But we can't. So, I mean, we have to see evidence ourselves also. We can't just go by, just the charges because anybody can be charged with anything, you know what I mean?
True.
So,
True. Well,
incarcerate.
what is based on what the feds are accusing him of? Do you have any opinion at all whether you believe they're telling the truth on President Trump or they're just making up a bunch of shit?
I mean, charges, a lot of times charges are like, I mean, made up. You think about it, even with a regular person. But also charges can be also, facts. You know what I mean? So now we got a real now they have to go through and sift through the papers.
Yeah, but
Sift.
I get what you're saying, but you're tiptoeing your ass off. I'm asking you, do you have an opinion based on what they're presenting? Do you believe they're making that shit up, or do you believe there's a real chance that President Trump may be guilty of some of that?
There's not enough of, like I said, there's not we that would be jumping the gun. There's not enough, you know what I mean, evidence available for us, to prove whether he's innocent or guilty. Now it looks like you're going in the direction of wanting him to be innocent. So what's your proof of wanting him to be
No,
innocent?
no,
And then
I
and then
lean left. I lean left. I'm not going in the direction of wanting them to be innocent. I'm asking the folks, what is their thought process on what they're presenting? Does President Trump come across as an individual that would even be capable of what they're suggesting?
of course. Do you
Okay.
think do you think
In that
do you think
respect,
he would be?
that's what I'm trying to get out of you. I'm trying
Right.
to get your opinion.
Right. Do you think he would be?
Yes.
Right. And what gives you that and that inclination?
Well, President Trump has not been one to bow down to anyone. And if the feds are demanding he return property and he don't feel like he has to, or he feels like he is the rightful possessor, he's not going to bow down. I mean, President Trump, due to his prominence. He's been an elite individual in our society just about his whole damn life. He hasn't had to answer to too many people. So making
Right.
a threat to President Trump is like making a threat to a tree. So when they start talking about we're going to subpoena you or you could face accountability, I can see where Trump might laugh that off.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do you think if he is guilty of these crimes, do you think he should deserve to do the time just like any other citizen?
Well, you hosted the show for me today, ain't you? Listen,
I'm just
I
saying. I
but
want to know where
yeah,
you coming from there.
I get it. I get it. Yes, I do believe that if he is found guilty in a court of law, he should do his time like anyone else. However, now let me ask you, do you believe when folks bring up Mike Pence, Hillary Clinton, and even shit, who else am I thinking of? There's
Biden?
been three of them. Hillary Clinton had documents, Mike Pence, and Joe Biden, of course, Joe Biden. Do you believe he's being treated differently than all three of those individuals who have had classified material on them?
Yeah, I think they all should. I think they all should be locked up. All of them.
Okay. All right, you're being consistent.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
being
Included,
consistent.
included Trump. You know, they all should be locked up. That's it. Biden, all of them.
All
First of
right, you're being
all,
consistent.
we need to stop electing these old white motherfuckers into the thing. And you know what I'm saying?
Keep going. I'm letting you have it. You got the floor.
Get some all these old motherfuckers, get them out, get some new people in there, some younger people in there, that's including Congress. Everybody wants a fucking father. I can even see it
Yeah.
in your comments. A lot of people want a daddy, so that's what they want Trump. Oh, Trump, my daddy. And the people that's voting for Biden, they
Well,
want a
wait a
daddy.
minute. Wait a
A
minute.
bunch of
You do
daddyless
realize,
motherfuckers in the comments.
you're killing me. You do realize a lot of folks are supporting Trump because they believe he was leading the country in a successful direction, and they believe the direction Trump was leading us in was better than any president in their lifetime. So it's not necessarily daddy syndrome. They think he was doing a really good job.
No, he wasn't. He was helping. He made them feel. Do you know what? You see that hat behind you?
Yes,
You
I
see it
do.
says "Make America Great Again," right?
Yes, I do.
When was America ever great for Black people? Let's answer that question real
Well,
quick.
in regards to African Americans, the answer is simple. It's never been great for African Americans
So, why would the opposing team be happy about that phrase?
because
Because
it was
they
great for
had,
them.
and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it was great for them, but it was even greater because they were able to get it off our backs, off the backs and the blood, sweat, and tears of us. More back then. See, now that
Oh, wait a minute. You don't
now that we're
think,
in the
hang on a second. You don't
uh
think that the slogan "Make America Great" is a request to return us back to enslavement, do you?
no, but listen to this. It has a lot of different meanings, but the core people that voted for him, Their meaning behind it is, yes, they not so much they want us back in slavery, but they feel like they're losing power.
Mm.
These are
Could be.
this is
My caller apparently has a call or something. I'll give him a minute. I don't. Let me make something clear before we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Okay. Did you go on Bluetooth? Let me make something clear before we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. All right. I don't. Did you go on Bluetooth? Okay. Let me the caller because it just became a sea of echoes. Real quick before we go back to the box, if you are on Bluetooth when you come up, you probably will have to go off of that. And then, of course, the other solution is to mute and unmute yourself. But we'll keep it moving. That was the plan, bro. I would burn that shit. I'm assuming you're suggesting that the apparel you see behind me on my right be basically incinerated. Well, let me ask you folks, because I've had individuals suggest that the legacy of the MAGA hat will be very similar to the Confederate flag, where it will be a symbol of hate and a symbol of divisiveness and things like that. How many of you folks believe that the legacy of this hat will ultimately become a symbol of divisiveness and hate? Now, it's a symbol of divisiveness now, I get it, but in terms of hatred, very similar to how some would view the Confederate flag. Do you see that type of an outcome for the apparel behind me? All right, going back to the box. Appreciate you folks. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 25,000. We got over, 1,400 of you folks in here. You could be anywhere you want to be this Saturday. You're hanging out with your boy. It is an honor to have you here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. If you disagree with the host, nobody gives a damn. You're always entitled to your speech here, and we will not censor or limit you for what you have to say. We welcome free speech. All right, going back to the box. Shay, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Shay. Haven't talked to you in the end of the program.
Hey, it's
Talking
been a while.
I'm assuming I already know your answer, Shay, but the question is President Trump 100% innocent?
Yeah, no, obviously not. I mean, it doesn't take, you just need a reading level of a third grader, and you can read that indictment and clearly understand that man obstructed justice all the way down the line. I mean,
But in pushback, we have to suggest that the feds have basically incarcerated people before who were exonerated. They have arrested the wrong people for certain crimes. So when you say you read the indictment, what if they are potentially trying to charge a person that is totally innocent? It does happen.
well, I mean, then why did he say all that to his attorneys? I mean, his own
That's a,
attorneys testified against him. I mean,
that is an excellent question.
if you read the indictment, this isn't just like, oh, he kept a few documents. Here's some pictures of some boxes in a bathroom, and he nefariously was probably trying to do this, and there's all this guessing, and it looks bad. That's not what the indictment says. The indictment
Right.
clear with his attorneys that he wanted them to do something about it, make them go away, lie for him, move them, get rid of them, say there's nothing here. I mean, it's apparent that he really did not want to be held accountable for what he was doing. All he had to do is return everything. That's all he had to do. He wouldn't have been in any trouble at all. I
Yeah,
mean,
but when they ended up pretty much serving a search warrant on his house and things like that, I still have to ask the question: if President Trump was not running for office, do you think all this would be happening at
yes,
this
yes, I
level?
do.
You do.
Yes, I do. I really do. Because I think most people in honesty know that Trump would lose again. So it's not that Trump was going to threaten to have a chance to beat Biden or anybody on the Democratic side. I mean, his reputation has been quite tarnished through his behavior, especially with January 6th. So and the pushing of election lies. So I don't think he stood a chance in HEWL. You're right, W whatever that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that this has nothing to do with that. Listen, you can't have a man with huge foreign policy connections through his business, his hotels, and by being an ex-president that is willing to treat classified information like it's nothing. And he's on tape literally showing people on Meadows' staff a classified document about the planned attack on Iran by General Milley. He's saying, come look at, you got to look at this, but I know it's classified information and I can't declassify it because I'm no longer president, but you should see this. Look at this. I
Yeah,
mean,
but people are going to bring up, and to some degree, rightfully so, they're going to bring up that Biden apparently has some ties over in the Ukraine and things like that. That's still in the investigation, in
mhm,
the investigative process. But it does look like there is at least enough there to warrant an investigation. Because you mentioned you can't have ties like this and be dealing
mhm,
with classified documents. It looks like Biden could be in infancy of a case, not as probably not to the degree of President Trump, but
mhm.
I mean, I should be asking the question: do we think Biden is 100% innocent?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it's possible that, this $5 million, but I don't know about you, but $5 million is chump change. I mean, if somebody's going to sit here and get national secrets and work their way, is $5 million enough money for you to betray your country? I wouldn't.
Well, keep in mind when you say 5 million is chump change. Keep in mind Martha Stewart spent a year in prison for chump change,
Right. Listen,
so
I'm
it
open.
can happen. It can happen.
Look, if there's evidence of this, which there doesn't seem to be actual paper evidence, or that this actually happened, it sounds like it was hearsay. Somebody saw something and reported it and gave it to Giuliani and stuff like that. This is Bill Barr studied. I mean, he looked into it and he didn't see anything there. So I listen. If it's there, we all say lock him up, impeach him. We don't care. We really
Right.
don't care. We're not tied to Biden. If he did something
You know,
wrong,
and I do agree.
investigate
I do agree with that. When you talk to the liberals
him. Hmm.
about, when you talk to folks about Trump, folks on the right about Trump, it's a witch hunt. He's innocent. When you
Hmm.
talk to the liberals about Biden, they're like, if you got a case, lock his ass up. So
Yeah,
I do see a total difference in how the liberals are viewing accusations against Trump or against Biden compared
yeah,
to how Trump supporters view accusations against him. I mean, we don't seem to give a
absolutely.
damn if Biden goes down.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a case where Biden is, not returning all the classified information, if he's wrangling, if he's pushing back, if he's hiring attorneys to protect himself, that would not look good, and we would not be happy about it. We don't have a
Yeah.
problem. I don't have a problem. Listen, right is right, wrong is wrong. And bottom line is, Trump is dangerous, and he should never be allowed to be able to access that information ever again. He's not trustworthy. And he's operating in the way that, as you mentioned, as he's always operated. He's always been
Yeah.
able to pay all these attorneys to get him out of trouble and to just appeal, 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 and delay, 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 delay. And that's always been his tactic. He didn't realize that his own attorneys would, of course, participate with the DOJ and basically say, yeah, this is what happened, man. And I
Well,
don't
he
know how you
one
get
of
out.
in regards to this 37 count indictment, all these felonies. His aide received 6 charges as well. So you talk about attorneys cooperating. That aide that's dealing with obstruction and willful intent and all, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some more cooperation with the feds against President Trump. But do you see him actually? I've asked this to the other guests. Do you see this country actually locking up a former president? Any chance that would happen?
I don't know. This is obviously, we've never had a man like Trump in office, right? I mean, look, Nixon spied on his campaign. Okay, that's typical political stuff that shouldn't happen, but it's normal, right? It's normal operatives when you get into politics. But regardless, his own party said we'll vote you out and impeach you, right?
Yeah.
So he resigned so that he didn't have to have those votes. What happened to that Republican Party? You know, and
Well, the
and
difference
and that's
with the difference with Nixon though is that when Nixon started looking like he was crooked, the support for him dwindled. The
yeah.
support for Trump actually strengthened. So there's a big difference there.
It shows you what's happened in our country, that people are putting their support behind a man versus what behind the Constitution. And I don't know where our country has gone when this is happening. This should be a very easy answer for many people. You have so many people that are running for the Republican seat. Why aren't the Republicans willing to say, listen, Trump is nothing but a distraction. We have no chance in hell in 2024 if we stand behind this man. There's no way.
Well,
He
let me respond, and I'll say this, and even as someone who leans left, in
Mhm.
regards to the suggestion that Trump is a distraction, they're seeing things like the LGBT encroaching on a lot of different walks of life. They're seeing an issue at the border that they feel is just simply being ignored. They're seeing our economy, the price at the gas pump. This is going to make folks suggest that maybe the federal indictment is simply a distraction from things that really need to be taken care of. This is why you're getting the pushback.
Well, I mean, I see that, but regardless, is Trump your only person you can vote for to solve the problems at the gas pump and the problems at the border? I mean, you've got to be kidding me with this. He didn't
Yeah.
do anything while he was a president. He built 52 miles of that wall. He didn't get much of it done. He didn't get much done because he's his own worst enemy. He runs his mouth. He creates a lot of problems going on. He can't seem to hire an administration that's not going to get indicted or arrested or write a tell-all book about him. I mean, I don't understand people not under. There's another answer to Donald Trump. There's another person that can fill those shoes. There's another Republican candidate. I don't
Ron
understand.
DeSantis? How would you feel about Ron DeSantis? He's promising the same stuff without all of without all the court cases orbiting around him.
That's what I don't understand. Why MAGA just doesn't push harder for Ron DeSantis. Would I vote for Ron DeSantis? No, I don't think he's popular, nationally, because of a lot of his stuff and his attack on stuff, inside Florida.
Well,
I mean,
I
especially if
do
he
get.
crashes Florida's economy. Good luck winning.
Yeah, and I don't think
I
Ron
mean,
DeSantis has a. I don't think Ron DeSantis has a strong chance anymore. But when you ask, you don't see why more Republicans are not getting behind Ron DeSantis. The answer is
yeah,
simple. Trump pulled his card. Trump pulled his card.
yeah,
Ron DeSantis was an overwhelming favorite until Trump stepped up and said, "This is not the guy," and that was kind of all that was needed. But Shay, I
yeah.
gotta move on.
I
Appreciate
know.
you
All
coming in.
right, y'all take care. Good to talk to you, Tim.
Absolutely,
Too long. All right.
absolute,
Good. All
absolute. Good
right.
talk.
All right.
All right. In the comments, got go Tim Scott. Oh, Tim Scott. I don't know. I don't know if Tim Scott is ready for the big league. Maybe a VP on the conservative side of the aisle. I don't know about Commander in Chief, but we shall see. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 40,000 likes. 1,200 plus. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Now, this is indeed a MAGA-friendly program. It always will be MAGA-friendly, but liberals obviously are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with yours truly. I may challenge you on every damn thing you say, but I will promise you, I will never censor or limit your time simply because you're critical or in disagreement with yours truly. We don't do that here. This is the place where you get to speak. Song, Dog, Harris, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Trump is a criminal, says Mr. Bullwinkle.
Hey,
Criminal.
how you doing,
Yeah,
man?
good afternoon, Song Dog. Talk to me.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Is President Trump 100% innocent? Number 45.
No, I don't think he's 100% innocent, but here's my take on it. The one thing that I think that we don't need in this country is division. I don't think I'm a white heterosexual male. I have not a big bone in my body, and the thing that we do not need in this country is me looking at you as a man of color, and I mean no disrespect by that, but I have no bad feelings towards that. I'm as redneck as they come, but I have no bad feelings towards that. And I didn't bring that. I just, I seen that in a lot of the comments, but we don't send a man like that to jail Because we didn't send the Clintons to jail. The Clintons
But we
have
have
done
to,
all
but I
kinds of.
gotta push back because your opening statement was we don't need division and we don't need to send a person to jail. And you're right, we didn't send the Clintons to jail. But in regards to not wanting or not needing division in this country, why would President Trump, if we don't need division, go from city to city to city, leading the charge of lock her up? If we don't need division, why would he do that? Isn't that divisive?
Well, you got a good point there. I can't really argue that. But wasn't he trying to lock? He was trying to lock up Hillary, right? Am I correct?
No, he was not even trying to do it. He never had her indicted. She was never held up. He had control of the House and Senate. Not once did they do any type of investigation on Hillary Clinton. She was never indicted. He was just allowing the people to yell this out in the most divisive fashion imaginable.
Right. I get you, and I would agree with you on that. But I'm saying, as far as me and you or race involved in that, I think that we come together as a people in this country. That's how we make America great. Whatever president that comes through here,
So let
I
me ask you
personally
this.
like Trump.
If So let me ask you this. So if you believe we need to be a more unified country, we need less division, while admitting that Trump was divisive, are you suggesting that maybe we should be done with Trump and that era should be in the history books?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he did a great job. I mean, I really do. I think that the
But you
man did it
talked about divisiveness. You thought he did a great job, but you're admitting he was divisive.
to an extent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're correct. To an extent.
Let
Yes.
me, so I guess I would present the question. If we reelect Trump, do you believe he would be more unifying this time or equally as divisive as last time?
Boy, it'd be hard to it that's a hard question to answer. I mean, I can't say for sure that he wouldn't. But here's the problem with Trump, I think. 90% of the time, and correct me if you think I'm wrong. If he would have just shut the hell up once in a while, I mean, hell man, if he'd have just shut up once in a while, nobody would have griped about him. They wouldn't, but they're scared to death of him winning the thing. That's why they want to put him in prison. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think they're scared to death of Trump because they couldn't control the man. They could not shut him up and they couldn't control him. He's the only
Well,
president that didn't take money didn't take a salary. He said, I don't need your money. I mean, he's
Well,
the only.
in regards to your comment that folks are fearful of him getting reelected, we can come up with different reasons and debate reasons why people are fearful of him getting reelected. But I do agree if President Trump was to be reelected, there would be a hell of a lot of scared people in America and in Washington. I don't know if all of that fear is because Trump is a great guy and is going to actually clean the country up. I think some of that fear is because they believe the direction he might take the country in might be something that does not resemble democracy. So I would submit to you, though, that when you pointed out the division in President Trump, there is probably one of the reasons why some people fear him getting reelected is that he may divide the country up even further than we are now.
Right. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. But like I say, given our choices, what do we have? Given our choices, what are we, where are we at? I mean, what do you got to pick from? They're not giving us a whole lot.
Well, let's go. Somebody mentioned Tim Scott in the comments. Now I lean left, but in regards to Tim Scott, do you believe Tim Scott will be as divisive as President Trump was from 2016 to 2020?
No, maybe not. But the thing of it is, it's so hard to debate it because we don't know what Trump will do. And that's what scares the hell out of people.
Yeah, but what is you've seen now? I guess one of the questions where I'm kind of confused is President Trump has not become George W. Bush or Obama. He didn't get out of the limelight after leaving office. So we've seen a continuance of how President Trump may or may not behave, leading to the question, what would lead you after seeing him from 2016 to 2020, seeing how he behaved, what has he done since he was out of office that make you think he would be any different? He's been in the public eye the whole time.
Right. Right. And I think that. is just Trump. I think Trump being in the public eye, to Trump, and this is just my take on him, to Trump, it's just like TikTok. Good publicity or bad publicity is still publicity to Trump. Good or bad, he doesn't care.
But
He
are we
doesn't.
voting? Are we voting for an effective commander in chief at running this country, or are we voting for a publicity hog?
Well, and that's a great question. The problem that we have is there, I can't come up with. I personally, if Trump ran again, I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. Never even give it a second thought. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
What about the division you talking? What about the division you're talking about? You'd be okay with that?
I'm not okay with the division, but how? I mean, let me ask you this: how much division do you think there is between me and you with him in the office?
I don't know all of the policies that you support versus me. I'd have to really start asking you questions and I could find out more. I mean, obviously there's LGBT issues, there's abortion issues, there's a Second Amendment, Christianity. There's a whole lot of things I would have to go through, and then I could be like, oh, we actually kind of agree on a whole lot of shit. Or I might be like, dude, we are like night and day. So I would have to really
Well,
give
I
you
can
a
tell
hell
you,
of a questionnaire.
like I say, I'm a white heterosexual Christian man. That if that don't sum it up right there, I don't know what does.
Well, there's a lot of LGBT members that are Christian. So there's Christians that are pro-choice. Being Christian doesn't tell you the whole tale. There's a
Right.
lot of Christians that actually have what we would see as more progressive policies, such as the Pope. The Pope has become the Pope has been more progressive over the years. So I mean, it depends. There's still questions that would have to be asked.
Right. I understand, but you get where I'm coming from. But like I
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
our our
I get what
our
you.
our our choices, man, are just it's we've gotten so far off of where we need to be as a country. Do you not agree with that? That we're so far away from where we need to be as a country that we're just I mean anything goes now. I mean, it's whatever.
Listen, that's where I have to point out, 'cause you mentioned color in the beginning of our conversation. I'm African American. So for somebody to suggest that in 2023 anything goes, I'm going to bring up 1823. When you could literally sexually assault my mom without any type of recourse. Anything goes was far worse when this country was created than it ever is now, at least for me. So I have to bring that up.
Right, but I'm not talking that necessarily like that, but I mean just like what they're teaching in our schools, what they're bringing to our children. I mean, it's just wide open. I mean you know, we got people, criminals on the streets. We got all this stuff going on. Every race, color, and religion in that category as far as the criminals go, but we're focusing in on one individual here. Okay. Yeah, he did some things that I believe are wrong. I absolutely, but I don't think that we've had a president that hasn't done things that are
True.
not.
I agree with that.
I
But do
mean,
you see President Trump? Do you see the vision for America that President Trump is trying to deliver as something that is so unique to that man that no one else could give it to you? I mean, folks are suggesting up until Trump said otherwise that Ron DeSantis would give you the same thing. I mean, is there no one else out there?
and that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, truthfully, I don't see anybody else out there. I mean, who else is out there? I mean, you tell me. I'm asking you. Do you think there's somebody else out there?
Well, when you look at the policies that many folks, my beloved MAGA, that many folks that on the right side of the aisle favor from President Trump, I would submit to you, you're going to get about 90% of that from Ron DeSantis. Securing the border is a major issue with folks on the right. Preserving the sanctity of life is a major issue with folks on the right. They're not in favor of the woke crowd. They're not very much in favor of the gains and progression of the LGBT community. You're getting all of that from Ron DeSantis. He's
Right.
doing it in his own state right now. So, yes, that guy is your guy.
Okay. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, I don't think it's right for, and as much as I support Trump, I don't think it's right for one guy to say, okay, you know what, this guy's not a good guy to go for, and so everybody just drops him. You know what I mean?
Trump has a lot of power. Trump has
He
a lot of
has a
power.
lot of fun, and
The
that
only
scares
reason
the hell
Ron
out of people.
DeSantis, the only reason Ron DeSantis is tanking in the polls is because Trump said he was a bad guy. That guy was soaring. Trump is the one that made his career. Trump is
Right,
the one that's destroying his career. It's
right,
all because of Trump.
right. And like I say, in that aspect, that is a good, that you're bringing me back to center, because that is an absolutely great point to wonder whether you do or you do vote for a guy like that, because if he has that much power, what's he going to do when he's got all the power?
As Kanye West once said, one man should not have all that power.
That's a
Song
fact.
Dog, I got to move it on. It is a pleasure to have you here. My door
Pleasure
is
to have
always
you here,
open to
man.
you.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
you very much.
Come on
Thank you.
back come on back anytime. Good conversation. Looking in the box, or in the comment section rather, Trump destroyed his own self. Well, he's not currently destroyed just yet. There are millions of folks that are still in supportive of President Trump being number 47. So he hasn't officially destroyed himself yet. Jamie appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. Appreciate occasionally when something show up on the screen like that, I gotta take note to it. Thank you, Jamie. The Republicans are a hot mess, going too extreme, says Sadie. Well, they're saying the same thing about us, certainly when it comes to the LGBT community and some liberal policies. They believe the exact same thing about us, that we're going too far to the left. Looking in the comments, Trump 2024, DeSantis still owes us 2 years. Well, Belinda, DeSantis in April passed a law in his state because he had such a stronghold on the state. Jamie, yeah, thank you for the hat and mustache. That he can still maintain the gubernatorial position even if he doesn't win as commander-in-chief, because they had a law in Florida that you had to resign if you were running for the nation's highest office. But he had enough of a stronghold in Florida that they changed that law in April. So now, even if DeSantis does not emerge victorious in the presidential race, he can still give you your 2 years that you say he owes as governor. I guarantee if Trump is disqualified for running in 2024, he will endorse DeSantis. I think you are making a guarantee that you will ultimately regret. If Trump and DeSantis are going back and forth in a heavy political battle, Trump would endorse someone else. Trump holds disloyal folks personally. I don't think Trump is going to overlook that. I really do not. And DeSantis is starting to speak negatively of Trump. I've suggested before, if you really wanted to pass the MAGA movement on to someone who would probably unite the party and keep MAGA as strong as they are, bring Sarah Huckabee Sanders out of the dugout. If Trump started endorsing Sarah Huckabee Sanders with her father, Mike Huckabee, and all of the love he still has from the Republican Party, I think she could keep the MAGA movement going. She doesn't have any of the issues orbiting around her that Trump has. I believe Sarah Huckabee Sanders could be that person, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll keep it moving in the comments. We'll go straight to, I don't know what the hell's going on with this box here, but we'll keep it moving. We'll go straight to Bees KUSA. Good afternoon, Bees K. Asking a question, is President Trump 100% innocent? Good afternoon, Bees.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good.
Commander-in-Chief Trump, 100% innocent. What you think?
I'm not going to say he's 100% innocent, but there's a lot. I mean, has anybody heard of this audio call? Where's the call at?
Well, the indictment just came out a couple of days
I
ago.
know.
They're not going to move that fast.
But they put little bits and pieces of the conversation from the audio call
Yeah,
as an indictment. So what's that? I
yeah.
just want to
I
hear
mean,
the
I
call.
get it. I get it. We want information now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you
I get
will
that.
hear that audio call.
Yeah. So my other question is like, so the Bill Clinton sock drawer case, right? You
Okay.
know about that one? So,
Somewhat.
so they're going to use that as, for like a precedence with this situation with Trump, I assume. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think that they're going to hold Trump accountable on what they believe they have caught him doing. I
Yeah.
don't think any diversion to Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, Mike Pence, or any of that's going to matter to the feds. They believe they have Trump by the short and curlies on some crimes he's committed, and that's what they're going to go for.
Okay. You don't think this has anything to do with politics, or this isn't political?
Yes, yes, I do. I do believe that if President Trump had a to the sunset like
Yeah.
Obama or George W. Bush,
Uh-huh.
I don't believe he would be certainly like the E. Jean Carroll case that would have went nowhere. I do believe it is karma coming back to bite Trump because he's been so disrespectful and so awful to a lot of people that nobody has sympathy for him. But if he was a more respectable guy, I think they would have given him a pass on a lot of this stuff.
I mean, I just wonder how many more times they're going to try to indict him or put him in prison so that he can't run. Like it's kind of obvious, like Biden
Well,
clearly can't he won't win
but
a
wait a minute.
re-election, so he's
I
going to take
think
down Trump this way.
Yeah, but I think you and I agree
Hmm.
that one of the goals is to prevent him from running. I
Right.
think where you and I disagree is that even though they're trying to prevent Trump from running, they're using real crimes he committed to do it. So I believe they don't want him to run again. And I believe they would have probably given him a pass on things he's done if he wasn't running again. But I
Yeah.
do believe they are using this stuff, and it is stuff that he probably has really done in real life. So they're not making up crimes to prevent him from running. They're using stuff he actually did that is a crime to get their wish, which is him not running.
I get that. Use that as
Yes.
a like a bargaining thing. Like if you don't run, we'll drop all this. I think Rachel
Yeah.
Maddow said that the other day with Lawrence O'Donnell, like as a
Yeah.
plea bargain. Like if you don't run, we'll drop all this.
Yeah. I'll give you a good example. If you get pulled over,
Mhm.
let's say you're speeding or something, you get pulled over and you start talking shit to the police officer.
Right.
Now all of a sudden they're pointing out your tail light is cracked or your tires have low tread. They're doing things to take you off the road because you are an asshole that they would not have been doing if you weren't an asshole. But nevertheless, the stuff they're using to take you off the road are actual violations. You actually are in violation. But if you weren't an asshole, they wouldn't be holding this stuff against you. That's what I believe is happening to Trump.
I see that. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump has like Secret Service protection and like basically his own like skiff at Mar-a-Lago is what I thought. Is that not right?
No, he doesn't have a skiff because, well, first of
Not
all,
saying
why
like
would
a
you have a
skiff,
skiff
but like
at your house? Why would you? Why?
because Mar-a-Lago is like, I mean, it's a place where he is awarded Secret Service protection, so he has like, an area where he's allowed to have these things because he has the Secret Service protection. He doesn't have that.
He has Secret Service protection, but there's no reason for you to have. Now, the president is often privy to what they call briefings after he leaves office.
Right.
Obama and George W. Bush still receive intelligence briefings. I believe Biden put a terminated Trump from even receiving anything, but they still receive stuff, which could be considered as confidential. But when you're
Wow.
talking about nuclear secrets and plans being laid out on how to attack Iran and things like that, there's no reason for a president to have that in his house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what's total. I mean, all you get is just like a little bit of this has, with the indictments and what documents that he has. It'll be interesting to see what he has. He may
Yeah.
have something maybe from Burisma, maybe some little evidence on. Who
Hey,
knows, though, right?
well,
I think
somebody
the timing
I've
is a
heard
little weird.
I've heard some people say that Trump may have what is referred to as a pocket pardon, meaning that he could have officially pardoned himself in a broad scope and not told anyone he wrote it, but did it during the time he was in office. And when the charges come up, if he's found guilty, he could pull it out. I don't know how that works, but I've heard
Yeah, me neither.
political analysts say there is a way to have a pocket pardon where it's a hidden pardon that you can bring up later.
That's kind of fun. I think I would
Yeah.
have one just anyways, wouldn't you?
You
just
know something,
just
in
anyway.
before I let you go, I have to ask that question because that's I think Trump is pushing the envelope in ways that makes this question a worthy question.
Uh-huh.
If the president is convicted of a crime, do you believe the president should be able to pardon himself of that crime?
If he like, are you saying like while he's president or afterwards
I
or something?
mean, even if it's while he's president, if you commit a crime, whether you're president or whether you used to be president, do you believe you should be able to pardon yourself for a crime you've been convicted of?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think that would be right.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
I
We've never
agree.
had this before. But my other thing was, obviously everybody doesn't like the Hunter Biden bullshit, talking about that. But the ironic timing of all of this is when they found, they went and got the documents that they were requesting from the FBI that they were not wanting people to see with the bribes that were proven from Burisma. Have you heard of any of that?
Could be, something in regards to timing, because some folks are saying it's timing for the election. I think Trump said that. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. As I've made it clear to you and other folks, is that I do believe they do not want President Trump to become number 47. The only issue is, are they using fabricated stuff to do it? And I believe they're using actual crimes to go after him with. So,
Yeah.
it starts to be one of those cases of if you actually committed the crime,
Yeah.
do you get to complain about the timing of the arrest or the indictment?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I mean, you're innocent until proven guilty. These are all
True.
still alleged, crimes. So that's the other thing. Everyone's already got him like he's guilty, it's done. So that's you
But
have to let the
before,
process play out.
yeah, but one quick question before we
Yep.
part ways, because you pointed out you're not guilty until you've been convicted.
Right.
Any idea why Trump was constantly yelling "lock her up" with his crowd, and she had not been convicted of anything?
Oh, what with Hillary
Yeah,
and her deleting of her emails?
but she wasn't convicted of a crime.
Right. She wasn't convicted, but I mean, do you think that was honestly fair that she was allowed to delete all those emails and do all that she did?
No, but I do
Whoops.
believe in due
Whoops, I
process, though.
accidentally deleted it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but we're talking about due process. You mentioned you can't convict anybody until you've actually given them due process. He didn't give her due process and was suggesting she be locked up.
Hmm. I don't know. To be honest, I don't trust a whole lot of any of it anymore. It's just like seems just get Trump and that's it. Doesn't matter what happens. Nobody else. Just get Trump only. That's just how I feel. But whatever. We'll see what happens.
Always a pleasure. We'll see how
All
the
right.
cards
Thank you
fall
so
where they
much.
may.
Say what?
All right, D.
Yeah. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. You too. All right. Comments real quick. You hate facts. Okay, yes. Benjamin Horowitz. Well, you know something. Listen, there are folks who believe that Trump is innocent and guilty, and better yet, there are folks who believe Trump is innocent and Hillary Clinton is guilty. So you are going to have that sort of discrepancy. Some would argue hypocrisy or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, there is no denying for the crowd that is suggesting we need to give Trump his day in court before we automatically string the man up, that many of the folks suggesting that were already stringing up Hillary Clinton, and she never had a day in court. So it is a fair point to be made if we believe in due process, because there were millions of folks suggesting Hillary Clinton be locked up without due process. So it's worthy to bring up. It doesn't sound like music to the ears of some of my beloved MAGA now that Trump is on the other side of it, but a lot of folks were participating in the chant of lock her up, including President Trump suggesting on stage while debating her that she would be in jail. She had no due process. She was not found guilty in a court of law. Now the shoe is on the other foot. And a hell of a lot of liberals are talking about locking Trump up before he's had his day. And MAGA is now rightfully pointing out, no, he deserves a day in court. But we're going to bring up what happened a few years ago when it was the other way around. All right, looking in the comments. But the investigation was done and proven she destroyed evidence, says Susie. She was not convicted in a court of law. Doesn't matter what you prove. She was not convicted in a court of law. I mean, if that's the case, we should suggest that George W. Bush because the evidence was done and there was no weapons of mass destruction, and the Iraq War was an optional war, leading to the deaths of about 6,000 Americans and over 1 million folks in the Middle East, some would suggest. But even though that was proven, he was never found guilty of a crime in the court of law. So it's got to work both ways, folks. It has got to work both ways. We don't want to have hypocrisy coming from the left, but then do it on the right, or vice versa. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 65,000 likes. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Solemn promise made on every broadcast. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the host on this program. You're free to be critical of the host on this program. Nobody limits your time because you have an opinion on this program. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with JC. He is in Charlie, not Beyonce's husband. Good afternoon, JC. We have Hillary
What's
emails
happening?
on the server. Wow. JC, good afternoon.
What's happening, handsome liberal? So what's your
Not much at
question?
all. Sure.
What's your question?
Oh, Trump, 100% innocent. Do you concur? Do you believe President Trump, number 45, 100% innocent? Thank you, Dan.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Not from reading the indictment. I do not. Because he put himself into this himself. Trump wants to be king. He said it on many, many occasions. Those were my documents. They're not his documents. Those are the American people's documents. They asked him nicely. They subpoenaed him.
Well, but you're basing your information. You're basing your information off of the federal indictment. So I have to ask: do you believe the feds are 100% credible?
No, I'm basing some of my information on what Trump has said himself. He said they were his.
He
And
did
he
say
can
that.
just and he can declassify them with his mind. Did he not say that? Just by thinking about it?
And I will tell you, in regards to what you're talking about, he said that on the Sean Hannity program, where he could think a document into declassification. If the indictment is correct, where he suggested, what I'm showing, whoever he was talking to, what I'm showing you is classified.
Oh, handsome liberal. I got a call, so I got to drop out.
All right, fair enough. We'll keep it moving. What I was suggesting, though, in regards to what my last caller said, that, he said on Sean Hannity he could think documents into declassification. Now, in the indictment, they're alleging that President Trump was in the process of showing classified materials to someone and actually told them, when I was president, I could have declassified this, but I cannot do so now. If that is true, that pretty much points to an open lie, what he was saying on the Sean Hannity program. Now, we already know the president cannot think documents into declassification, which we kind of wonder why he said it to begin with. But if what they are alleging on the indictment is true, then it makes it clear he knew it also when he told Sean Hannity that he could not think documents into declassification. It really makes him look pretty bad if that comes out. Now, as I asked my last caller, do you find the feds to be credible? But they're suggesting they have them on audio. Here's the problem, and I'll go right back to the comment section. Here's the problem. We live now in an environment where AI, artificial intelligence, has progressed so far that you're going to have folks who will not believe audio, or even video for that matter. You can present audio of President Trump, and there are going to be people that are going to suggest that's bullshit. I mean, how many impressionists are there out there that sound just like Trump? So folks are going to suggest that maybe the feds got a hold of one of them, that these tapes may not be accurate. Certainly if Trump goes around saying that. If Trump goes out and says that is not me you hear on that tape, expect the conspiracies to come out of the woodwork. All right, going back to the comments. Every president has documents, and you all know it. The problem is the feds over-classifies everything. Big wigs, TikTok. You're correct about every former commander-in-chief having documents. But if President Trump is telling his associates or friends that he's showing something to, that when I'm showing you is classified, and I had the ability to declassify it when I was president, but I cannot now. It doesn't matter what every president has in their possession. He is copying to a crime. He is admitting I'm showing a person who has no right to see something, I'm showing it to him anyway. If he's caught saying that, it doesn't matter who else we deflect or defer to. He's copying to a crime. It's as simple as that. Going back to the box. Brother Mark, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Brother Mark, 100% innocent. I haven't had anyone yet on the program suggest that President Trump is 100% innocent. I need some QAnon folks out here. What the hell's going on? No one believes Trump is 100% innocent? Brother Mark, talk to me.
No, he's not innocent. And the dangerous thing about it is that he's not as crazy as people think. Now, if you think that the documents that was retrieved from his home is all that he has, let me explain something to you. He's got photocopies of that thing. He's got scanned copies emailed out somewhere. They didn't.
Why? Why would he have that? What is the purpose of having that?
Because he's malicious, okay? If he doesn't get his way, just like January 6th, he'll sick the dogs on the government just because he doesn't get his way, okay? So now...
Are you suggesting that President Trump could be capable of blackmailing... Are you suggesting that President Trump could be capable of blackmailing this nation?
Brother, he's not the president, okay? Biden is the president.
Okay.
Okay.
You get the question, though. Are you suggesting that the former president is capable of blackmailing this nation?
What do we gather from January 6th? That was all because he didn't get his way to get reelected. And he was laughing at the damage that was being done to the government. Now, is that the mind of a sane man? No, it's not, bruh. And why he was going to run for president this time, if he would have lost, and he would have lost, he was going to expose those documents openly just to attack the government one last time.
But let me correct you. You corrected me by suggesting that Trump is not currently the president, but you're speaking in regards to his campaign in the past tense. You're saying he was going to run for president. He's still a campaign. He is still at the top of the campaign. He is still a candidate for 2024. He's not done yet.
Well, the charges will say that. And then let's look at this whole thing openly, really. You see, the House really doesn't want to press the legal issue against him. Okay, they're doing right now what's the second obvious, because let's talk about your former president. He is yet to be charged with the voter tampering.
Come on, Atlanta, Georgia.
Exactly.
He got a lot orbiting around him.
Where does that charge go?
Yeah, I'm not going to hesitate to admit Trump has a lot of shit orbiting around him. I mean, he has more moons than Saturn at this point. So, yeah, but do you see him actually being incarcerated? Do you actually see him actually going to jail ever?
That's okay. I'm going to tell you something. Anybody in law will tell you that the case is not won in the courtroom. The case is technically decided in the judge's chambers, okay? They are communicating right now and surveying communications like what we're doing to grab the temperature of the people. Okay, how did they respond to the indictment? How are they going to feel once the decision comes down? That's going to determine what they do to them. Okay.
Let me ask you this personally. Now, am I correct in assuming that you do believe Trump is guilty of what they're accusing him of? Am I correct in that?
Listen, they didn't plant those documents in his house. How did they get to his house?
I'm just asking it. So that is a yes. So let me present it to you yourself. If Trump was to plea, let's say, for instance, his attorneys made it clear he would cop to these crimes that he's alleged of, and he was willing to step out of the political sphere in America. He would not run. He would not get involved in political campaigns. And his lawyers was asking for no jail time, but he was going to be assured that he would step out of U.S. politics. Would you accept that plea? Do you believe that would be a decent plea to take? You're not going to lock the guy up. He's pleading guilty, but he's going to get out of the public forum. Would you accept that as a citizen?
No, because they can block him from running for president once they give him a convicted charge. He would default himself to be eligible for the White House. So
Yeah, but he
they
can still be
don't.
in politics. He can still put in puppets. He don't
They
have
don't.
to run. He can put in a puppet.
Well, but that wouldn't go over easy because that's like, that would be pretty obvious, and I don't see there
You
would be
really, when you look at the Marjorie Taylor Greens and you look at folks like Ron DeSantis, he's already put in people. You don't think, I understand midterms he did horrible, but Trump still has the power, certainly in red environments. Now, nationally, it might be hard for him to put in puppets, but in deep red districts and states, Trump could install puppets all over this country.
well.
So,
Do
go
you
ahead.
really think that as sloppy as he's been in handling his own business, that you really want to be attached to this guy right now?
Millions of Americans do.
No. The politicians. What a politician
Million, yes. You
really
think
wants
Ted
to be
Cruz,
attached to
Goldbar, you
him.
think Marjorie Taylor Greene, they don't mind being attached to Trump.
They
Lindsey
are
Graham actually Lindsey Graham actually suggested donating money to his legal bills.
they are shadow supporters, brother. They know they can't go no further than where they stand now. So they have nothing to lose by saying what they're saying. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
they are sitting senators and Congress people with constituents of themselves. They have constituencies as well. You asked, would a politician want to be attached to Trump? I'm giving you Congress and serving senators that do.
But they have no political gravity in sight, so they know they're not going anywhere. They can easily stand up and say, "Hey, yeah, I support you. I support you." I mean, that's like that. I mean,
You don't think a senator of the largest state in the 48, the lower 48, Texas, Ted Cruz, you don't think he has any power? You said he don't have any political power. I mean,
Ted
Ted Cruz
Cruz,
is clearly attached to Trump.
Ted Cruz doesn't have any political steam anymore, bro. A lot of a lot of the confidence was lost when the Florida grid went down and how he handled his business in Texas. I'm sorry, the Texas electric grid went down and how he handled his business in Texas. He doesn't have any political steam. And Ron DeSantis is a decoy. They like to have somebody barking at Trump to actually look like he's a competitor, but he's really not a competitor, bro. He really
Yeah.
is.
Well, we can agree to disagree because when you say that folks like Ted Cruz have no power, he keeps winning. So the fact that he keeps getting elected shows he has some power. I mean, his
He's,
votes count. When he goes to Washington as one of the few senators, what, we have 100 senators, his vote counts. It makes a difference. So he has a lot of power.
he wins his seat because of the red districts that are in Texas, and that there's no competitive
True.
Democrat going up against him, but it doesn't make him effective. It doesn't make him threatening. It doesn't make him a powerhouse red shirt. You see what I'm saying? So
No,
it's just,
I agree that there's some folks that are not necessarily powerhouses, but when it comes to stuff like rolling back Roe v. Wade or Second Amendment debates and things like that, they still make a hell of a difference. I mean, so Ted Cruz is Ted Cruz. He's one of the few senators we have in this nation, such as when it came to Trump being impeached. Them few senators, that makes a difference. I mean, if we had a Democratic Senate, Trump would have never completed his first term. So you're saying they're not a powerhouse. I get it, but collectively they can get a lot of shit done.
but it's already been proven that the Senate and the House, they're not collective. Politicians are out for themselves, bro. So Yeah, they work for the one. They work for the one supposed to be democracy, but they're individuals, man. They politician is out for themselves. Just like there's not a there's not a black politician, there's not a white politician. Their color is green. Okay,
Mm.
they do what they do for the power of the position where they live.
Did you feel the same way when Obama and Biden well, Biden we have in office now? Do you believe Obama also was only
More
voting for
so, more so, he wasn't a black president. He's a politician because he did more to hurt black people than he did to help us, and he did that on
but,
purpose so he
but
wouldn't be criticized and inadvertently turning the country, making the country a racial separation. So that's why he
okay.
didn't stand up for a lot of us.
All right. Well, before I move on, I have to ask you, you got to elaborate on it. Give me some policies that you believe Obama is responsible for that were deliberately harmful to the black community.
I mean, he was the one that actually started the movement of over incarcerating a lot of people. I mean, because when it was at the tail end of the drug war, there wasn't any leniency on programs or initiating a lot of functional programs in the community. His objective, we didn't even hear anything about
Wait a
benefits.
minute, I don't get what policy you're saying that Obama's responsible for mass incarceration of African Americans?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you research
By
back.
what policy? What
There
policy
was
did he put
there was more
in
there
place,
was more
locked up a lot
positive
of people?
there was more positive jail time implemented than far exceeds what's happening now. I mean, he didn't. You can't see the smoke of any fires that he put out. Hey, baby, thank you.
Mm. Well, okay, well, 'cause now there's a lot of folks that believe President Trump did more for black people than any other president in recent history. Do you agree with that?
How?
That's what I'm asking. Well, they talk about the
No, you say a lot
HBCUs,
of
they talk
folks.
about criminal justice
A
reform.
lot of folks say that he's
Huh?
done. You say a lot of folks say that he's done a lot for black folks. What did he do?
Well, they bring up allocating money to colleges. They bring up the
Brother,
economy in African American communities. They bring up he was talking about criminal justice reform, things like that.
federal grants are already worked into the deficit of the country to provide money to lower colleges. So, or colleges that don't have a positive financial flow. So those government grants are already built in. He didn't do anything special about that. Nothing at all.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
yeah, I mean
All
that
right, brother him.
yeah, that was
Go ahead. I'll give you the
automatically
last
going.
word.
That was automatically going to be there. Okay, well let me ask you this right here. What do you think would be positive if he wouldn't go back into office?
Rephrase that out. You said if we're talking
What do
about
you
Trump,
think?
right?
Yeah, exactly. What positive actions do you think he would take if he did get back in office? Or do you think that he would
Well,
use his term in office to maliciously go after a bunch of people?
I believe both. I do believe there are positives that would happen if Trump got reelected, but I also do believe he would be on a mission of revenge. I'm gonna drop you, but I will answer your question in detail. But I do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Come on
brother.
back anytime. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Now that brother. All right. In regards to President Trump. If President Trump was reelected, positives and negatives. Now, first of all, I don't doubt for a second that he would be on a mission of revenge. I do believe that. But what positives could President Trump deliver that even a liberal, someone like myself that leans left? I believe he would drill and immediately the price of fuel would drop in this country. Now that's a battle. That's not a war. That's a battle. So I do believe the fuel prices would drop under President Trump. I do believe Trump has a decent relationship with Vladimir Putin. and could do more towards maybe slowing down the conflict that's happening versus the Ukraine. Now, unfortunately, some of that might mean leaving the Ukraine out to dry. But I do believe under President Trump, that event would come to a conclusion faster than I guess sooner than later is the term I'm looking for. I just simply see the border as an issue that President Trump would address from a stronger standpoint than Biden. That doesn't mean that some of the things he do may not be harsh and cruel to some degree. But right now we have a border crisis, and I do believe that there are more Americans that would probably favor the way Trump deals with the border versus Biden. So just wanted to bring those things up. I lean left on a hell of a lot of social policy, so it is what it is. But I don't see Trump as the demon, as the devil. I see legitimate reasons why people support the guy as well. Looking in the comments, we wouldn't be pushed around by other countries than we are now by Biden. I don't believe, and I've heard Jeff appreciate that comment, I don't buy into the notion that President Biden is so weak that other countries are pushing us around. And the reason I tell you that is because of Russia. If there were countries that were going to push America around, I think Russia has shown them that that's not necessarily a good idea. Many folks would suggest that Trump being a strong leader, presenting a strong image, is why Russia didn't go into the Ukraine. They waited till a weakling like Biden gets in there and they go in. Well, look what happened. If Vladimir Putin saw Biden as a weak leader and picked that time to go into the Ukraine, is there anybody out there that believes Vladimir Putin thought in February of 2022, when he invaded the Ukraine, he would still be fighting in June of 2023, over a year later? So even if you see Biden as a weak leader, or as the reason Vladimir Putin went into the Ukraine, it's safe to assume that he underestimated Biden significantly, because he's still at war 15 months later. He didn't think that was going to happen. Vladimir Putin told the United States, if you keep supporting the Ukraine, you could face the wrath of Russia. Biden stepped up the support when Ukraine said that. So Vladimir Putin is certainly not looking at President Biden over who knows how many tens of thousands of Russian soldiers, how much assets and equipment they've lost in this war. There's no way Vladimir Putin is going to look at Biden and say that's a weak guy. We're causing them all sorts of turmoil because Biden is in office that many admit would not be going on if Trump was in office. Trump suggests that if he was in office, this war would not be happening. That could be true. But if the war never happened under Trump, that means all of those dead Russian soldiers would still be alive. All of those tanks and helicopters and planes they lost would still be in their possession. Even though they didn't go into the Ukraine, they would certainly be a stronger nation under Trump than they are now, because they're missing so many damn people because of what Biden has done. So you have to look at it from a realistic standpoint. If Vladimir Putin suggested that Biden was a weak guy, he underestimated him. And you would have to assume the Chinese are realizing that. Because if Biden is a weak leader, we can debate that. But the thing about Biden that is different than Trump is, Biden will listen to the advisors. So it doesn't matter how weak Biden is, you got to pay attention to who is in the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Because those are the people that are going to tell Biden, we need to do this, or this, and he's going to sign off on it. So Biden could be the weakest leader there is. But if the folks that are over in the Joint Chiefs orders a nuclear strike, that's what's going to happen. So you can call Biden weak all you want. It's like getting into an argument with a guy who does everything his wife tells him to do. Then you need to pay attention to the wife. You can say the guy's weak all you want. If his wife tells him to go in the house and get a pistol, you might get your ass shot. Understand that. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 80,000 likes if that's possible. 700 plus of you in here. Program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are the preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Electric Wolf, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Do I have Twitter? I've considered it, but no, currently I do not have Twitter there. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain, says Liz Cheney. Wow. Yikes. And we could talk about the Trump legacy. It's going to be an interesting one. Electric Wolf. Good afternoon.
How are you?
Doing good. We asking the question, is President Trump, number 45, is he 100% innocent? Appreciate that subscription. Whoever the hell that was that
Well,
just
none
did
of
that.
us are 100% innocent, but I mean, all this, you know how you had said before that, oh, it's got to be equal on both sides and stuff like that. It's not equal. They're just going after him. It's nonsense. I mean, the whole thing about having the confidential stuff, regardless of whatever Trump's done, when he was a regular person, he didn't have confidential information until he got into office. Then he took his records or whatever, and he declassified some. Maybe he didn't do them all. I don't care. Just take them back and move on. It didn't hurt anybody.
But wait a minute. Let me ask you this, because I think you and I agree that the dislike of Trump has a lot to do with why they're going after him. But where we may disagree is that what they're going after him for is something he actually may have done. Do you believe
Like
the
what?
stuff they're going after him for is actual crimes he may have committed?
But what crime did he commit? What espionage? Come on.
Obstruction.
If anybody,
Obstruction.
95% of our government should be convicted of espionage.
Yeah, but wait a minute. What you're suggesting, listen, when you say 95% of the government should be committed of espionage, I'm not here to debate that. But let's say you get pulled over for a speeding ticket and you go, 95% of the folks on the highway should get pulled over for speeding tickets. After all, we all speed. That doesn't help your case. Pointing or snitching on others does not help you when you're actually caught committing a crime. And that's what I'm asking you. Has he actually been caught doing something he actually did?
I don't think, whatever it is, we're going to have to see how it plays out and stuff like that. But again, when Biden was senator, he had stuff. When he was vice president, he had stuff. He had zero reason. There is no reason, no excuse, zero of why he had
Yeah,
it
but
in
you're
his
pointing, but
possession.
you're
It
going.
doesn't, no, it doesn't matter. He took it away from the government, from a government skiff or a government office. He took it and, oh, I forgot about it. I didn't know. No, it doesn't matter. You took it. Why would you? How in God's green earth did you just take it when you had zero authority to do it? Zero. Same with Mike Pence. He's the same thing. Same with Obama. Obama was president when he did it. But then they said with Clinton, they had said, oh, he can take whatever he wants. Okay, so then so can Trump. Move on. Like I said,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
hurt him.
But
What?
I don't disagree that they may be trying to hurt him. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that you're pointing to other speeders. In court, that's not going to help you.
I'm pointing to other people who got pulled over too. And the thing is, they still have him pulled over, and they're coming up with ideas of how to let him off, is what they're doing to Biden. They're trying. That's why they tried to get Trump on certain charges, because they're saying, okay, can we move Biden away from this? Yes. Can we move Biden away from this? Okay, then, because they're going to clear Biden. You watch. They're going to clear Biden, say, oh, it wasn't as bad. Don't worry. Even when he was a senator, oh, it's not so bad. He should not have had him, period. He should not have had him. He should be prosecuted for that.
Let me ask you that. In regards to Biden, Hillary Clinton, I won't put Mike Pence into it, but we'll talk about Biden with some of his
Fuck that guy
issues.
too.
But in regards to Biden, and particularly Hillary Clinton, when Trump got elected, he had control of the House and Senate. If she was doing all this stuff, any idea why he didn't hold her accountable?
Because because he was busy being president, like trying to be an actual president. He didn't have time to pussyfoot about all this bullshit.
Then
He's
why
like, if you
promise
want to,
it?
he
Wait,
told
wait,
them,
wait
go
a
after
minute.
him. If you want to go after him, go after him. I don't care. He wasn't pushing it. He was trying to push shit for
But you're
the country.
no, wait a minute. If he was going to go out and lead this country effectively, and he didn't have time for that bullshit, then why hold rallies constantly talking about locking her up? If you know you're not going to do it, why go out there and taunt your people who really want her held accountable when you know you're not going to do it? You're letting them have these hopes of leaving the rally like, yes, this is the guy. He's finally going to do
Handsome.
something about the Clintons. Hold on, wait a
He,
minute.
he,
You
okay.
know, you know for certain that your supporters, talking about MAGA, want this woman held accountable for her crimes. You're allowing them to yell it out at rallies, lock her up, when
Yep.
deep down you know you're not doing a damn thing to appease them or hold this person accountable. Why do that?
Okay. The reason, well, okay, first of all, if he would have come out and said, I want to open an investigation, this and that, right now, right away, this and that, he would have been horrible, the devil, Hitler's
He's
little
horrible for
brother,
yelling, lock her
whatever.
up. He's
Well,
horrible for the lock her up stuff.
but I'm getting to it. Okay, then he becomes president, he starts doing what he's going to do, whatever, for the country, stuff like that. Where were all the Republicans in Congress and the Senate doing it? That's their job if they want to investigate. That's their deal. Now, under Trump, I understand but it's not. It doesn't fall down to, well, it's Trump's responsibility. No, Trump stayed out of it. These guys do what Trump wanted to do and what people wanted them to do, and they wanted them to investigate them. But they're not going to, because they're all in the same. They're all a bunch of sharks. They're not going to hurt each other because they know it's only 4 to 8 years for a president, and that's it. And they think all these people are stupid, both Republicans and both Democrats. Like I said, Trump broke the system. But the thing is that he was just like, and the reason we wanted to do it was because, yeah, I wanted her to get locked up. I felt bad for her because I'm like, man, that's one old broad. She's going to die in prison if they ever catch her. But they're never going to catch her because they're not going to do it to her. They're not going to do it to anybody because of the only one they want to do it to is Trump, because they cannot stand that the people dig them. Rich, poor, black, white, Asian, Latinos, young, old, everybody digs him. Whether you hate him or not, you dig him. You like him talking shit to the media. You like him talking shit to Republicans. You like him talking shit. Where's Liz Cheney? Wasn't she supposed to jump in and take care of all the Republicans and take them all away from Trump? Come on. The guy was a badass. I mean, whether you like it or not, he's a badass.
Think about what you just said. They like Trump
What?
because he talks shit to Republicans, Democrats. You would have to assume that Chris Christie may also get some of that adoration because he does the same thing.
No, but he's not genuine. That's the thing. Chris Christie's not genuine. None of these guys are genuine. They're all doing it. Huh? Says me. Me? What? Just all you have to, and look, like I tell you, I'm willing to vote for somebody like Trump, someone genuine. But the thing is, all these guys are just a bunch of jokes. There's no one genuine out there. I mean, if you put DeSantis as president, is he going to do some things as president? Yeah, but he's not going to shake up the system. He's not going to help the people. He's going to help the Democrats. He's going to help the Republicans. He's going to help all the upper echelon people get their raises, get their money, do their stock trading, stuff like that. And then they're going to say, I did this for the people, which I gave you a quarter. Big deal. The thing is that with Trump, you get what you get. He's going to tell you, look, this is what we're going to do. It's going to piss people off. And sure enough, he does it. And it pisses them off. And
But
we like them being pissed off.
You stated that Trump shakes up the system. We've had 4 years of President Trump now.
It wasn't enough.
Can you tell me, well, I get that, but can you tell me some benefits that the American people received from Trump, quote unquote, shaking up the system? How did that help us out at all?
I'll tell you, you know what it did? One of the main things that it did is it woke a lot of people up. Maybe not for him, but it woke a lot of people up so they could start seeing how their elected officials act and what they actually do.
Are you suggesting that really, when you say woke a lot of people up, are you saying that Trump himself is in charge of the woke community? Trump is responsible for the woke folks?
No, but I mean, like, he woke them up, not the slang woke, because really it's awaken. But woke people aren't going to use that word, but it's a real word.
But wait a minute, though. Trump, listen, if I call you, if my house is on fire and the fireman shows up and rings the doorbell and leave, I'm not giving him credit for waking me up. You promised to put out the fire. You didn't promise to wake people up. You said you were going to drain the swamp.
That's just one thing. He woke them up and showed them what dirtbags they are. The media and the politicians, both sides. He woke them up to that. Then people start like genuinely this election. I think a lot of Democrats, especially a lot of the kids that are anti-war are going to vote for Trump. You watch. That's what's going to happen. That's the big surprise that's going to come. The young kids who don't like war are going to go for Trump.
What about the kids that like trans? Who they gonna vote for?
The ones that like trans, I think they'll vote either way because there's trans people that like Trump and there's trans people that don't like Trump. Handsome, you
Trump
have to
is
understand
dead.
there's trans people that we don't give a shit about that are just regular folks. The ones we don't want are the ones that are acting like pedophiles. The straight people that are acting like pedophiles. The gay people that are acting like pedophiles. Those are the people we don't like. We like gay people.
Wait. I make the solemn promise I don't block, ban, or censor anyone, but try not to say that word so damn much because there are TikTok gods out there.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to say it. This ain't John Wayne Gacy you're talking to. I get your point,
but you know what? We have people like that think it's okay to come out of the dark. And they act because they're holding the flag of transgender. They think that it's okay to say stuff like that, and it's not. Because there's a lot of offended trans people that don't like what's being done in their name. There's a lot of gay people that don't like what's being said in their name because they know it's wrong. Those are regular people. We're talking trans people are regular.
Okay, so you're saying that a lot of folks are coming out and feeling like it's comfortable to suggest abusing children. How do you respond to the feds saying that Trump made it comfortable for white supremacists to come out and be hateful to a lot of communities?
I don't see how when he kept saying I denounce white supremacy 10 million times and you said, oh, it wasn't 10 million and one, so he's a racist. If he could have said it 2 million times, he would have come back and said it wasn't 2 million and one, so he's a racist. That's all it is.
Well, he did have to be poked and prodded to get him to say that.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said it many, many times. Remember when he turned around and even for gay people, when he turned around and wanted homosexuality decriminalized around the world? He didn't have to fly a stupid rainbow flag. He just said, you know what, we're going to take care of our gay folks and we're going to try to make it decriminalized throughout the world. That's anti-gay?
We recall that differently. Let me ask you this. This is something Trump suggested. I think it was at CPAC a few months ago. He stated that if he is reelected, he's going to ask Congress to go by the gender that is on your birth certificate. So in other words, if I want to identify as a woman, it'd be the ugliest woman you ever saw. But if I want to start identifying as a woman, because of what he's asked Congress to do, I will always be referred to as a male on my government documents, meaning that for me to become transgender in the eyes of government, it would now be officially impossible. But you're suggesting that transgender support Trump. How do you respond to something like that? Do you favor him requesting that?
Well, I don't see what the big deal, but it's called science. I mean, man, woman, woman. They know what they are. There's transgender people that know they were born as a man, they were born as a woman, and they want to live their life as the opposite sex. They feel that they live like that. That's fine. But they're not going to change their. You can't change your birth certificate because that's not who you are. You were not born a female or male the opposite way when you were born. That's the way it is.
So what you want is Caitlyn Jenner, if she gets pulled over and hands her driver's license to the cops, you want it to say man on there.
Yeah, because that's what she is.
Okay. All right, Wolf, I gotta move it on.
I mean, come on. Hey, before you let me go, Handsome, I want to tell you, I like the matching MAGA shirt. It looks great. I like it. That's awesome.
Did you see the label?
It doesn't matter. It matches. You should put that hat on. It matches perfect for voting day. For when you go vote, man, you're gonna look great.
Too many black people around me. I gotta go. Come on back.
All right, take care.
All right. Electric Wolf. Everybody, certainly a friend of the program. As I always say, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. I'm not here to block, ban, or censor anyone for their opinion. You have a right to your opinion, irrespective of what the hell I think or how I feel. That doesn't take away your right to speak. And I promise you, I'll never censor or limit anyone's right to speak simply because I have a disagreement with you. That's not how it works here. People get to speak. We go left of Bernie Sanders. I'm having QAnon for dinner. We cover the entire damn damn spectrum. Looking in the comments, House of L says, I appreciate you, King. Thank you. Appreciate you too, sir. Glad to have you here. Trump woke the racists up. Said, lied to you. I love the name. The Feds, President Trump's own federal government, did suggest that he woke up a lot of hate in this country. Papa Giuseppe says nothing that guy said made sense. Bro, I don't agree with that. He said things that make sense. It's just not to you as an audience. Folks on the right were all over the comments like, this is the guy. This guy knows what the hell he's talking about. Folks on the left thought he was coming from right field. So it is what it is. We'll keep it moving. I'm assuming you're saying, have I read the indictment? But it says, give you read the indictment. Max Sounds Music. No, I have not read the entire indictment. No, I have not. I've seen the cliff notes of it, and it looks damning. Particularly some of the things they have in quotes coming from President Trump. If he said some of those things on audio, it could be problematic for the former commander-in-chief. But also, too, keep in mind there's a hell of a lot of folks that are doing the rest of their lives in prison based on the testimony of witnesses. And the first thing generally we do when folks are in court and we're getting witness testimony is try to discredit the witnesses. A lot of folks that are testifying against Trump, society-wise, are very credible people. We got to find a hell of a way to discredit some of these folks. Some of these are some very credible people. Trump has successfully discredited some people who would certainly have normally been viewed as very credible. So we'll see what happens, but between the witness testimony and what they claim they have him saying on audio, not to mention the photos of those documents, it looks damning. He has an uphill battle. And what's really unfortunate is this is not his only case. That's what's really bad, is that as bad as this look, this ain't the only shit he's dealing with. He still got the January 6th case to deal with. He got what the hell comes out of Georgia to deal with. He still has Letitia Brown or Letitia James or whatever her name is up in New York with his finances. I mean, he got a lot of stuff. The man has a lot going on. For you folks that support Trump, that often point out it was difficult for him to succeed in his agenda because they were after him from day one, I can tell you this. If he wins again in 2024, there's a guarantee that scenario will continue because they're already after him now and day one hasn't even began. All of this won't be solved by November of 2024. Some of this shit will still be going. Going into the box. Angel. Good afternoon, Angel.
What's up, handsome?
Program. What's up? Trump 100% innocent. Talk to me. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna just go from precedent for what they're indicting him. He is. Clinton did the same damn thing. Clinton did the same damn thing, and a judge sat there and said, "Well, he's the president. He can do whatever he wants." Basically, it was okay when a Democratic president did that, but then a Republican president, let alone Trump, does that, and then all of a sudden we have all these indictments. That's a fact.
Well,
that's facts.
You can't go out and you can't go out and off your wife and then point to O.J. Simpson. I don't know if it works like that.
No. Because a jury found O.J. Simpson innocent because the prosecution didn't come up with enough evidence to convict him. Like, let's get real here. Like, you can't use that, right? Because the simple fact is when a judge sits there and says, well, he's the president, he stuck that shit in a sock drawer. Now, granted, it was in a sock drawer, it was a bunch of tapes or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you can't say that one president does it and it's okay, and then the next president, because you don't like him, does it, and then say, oh my God, it's treason, it's this, it's that. That's a joke. That's a joke. The precedent was already set. It's already there. It's already there.
So what you're saying is Bill Clinton committed obstruction. So from this point on, because they let Bill Clinton off for it, any president
there's no law stating that he can't. A judge said that the president can do. It's law. It's precedent. That's like any freaking legislation that's been passed on any the Miranda rights, right? It's put in law. You see what I'm saying? You can't sit there and say that. You can't sit there and say it's good for one, it's not good for the other. It was already the precedent was already set for it.
Well, but you do understand the courts, although they often use precedent, there is no requirement that you actually have to follow that. If one judge lets somebody get away with something, and you can
But
cite
it's
that in your case,
but you can't sit there and say because one president did it and it was a judge let it slide, saying that he can do it, and then the next president does it, and then sit there and say he's a freaking criminal. Come on. And then Joe Biden
well,
did the same
wait a
thing, and
minute.
we can sit there and
If
say
Trump was openly lying to the feds and saying he did not have documents that he knew he had, you're saying because somebody else did something that should be just completely ignored.
he doesn't have to tell him. It was his right as the president. That's the whole man.
No, that's not true. If he has classified material on him and they're asking him for it, you're telling me he doesn't even have to be honest with them.
Then what? He goes to jail for lying?
I'm just asking you.
And I'm asking though, right? Because then that's the only crime that he committed was lying, and it wasn't under oath. But it wasn't under oath.
That is obstruction. What about the
obstruction? Listen, okay, so listen, right? So obstruction to something that he is allowed to do. How is that? That's like sitting there saying, listen, obstruction for something that he's allowed to do. Now check it, right? If I get pulled over, right, and the only crime that I committed was resisting arrest, how did I get to that point, right? If the only crime I was literally charged with at that time was resisting arrest, for what? What was the crime? What was the charge of me resisting arrest? Think about that.
You're confusing the hell out of you. That one confused the hell out of me.
So listen, if I get pulled over and I get pulled over, right, and the cop doesn't have any crime
pulled
on
over
me,
for
right?
what? Pulled over for what? Pulled over for what?
It doesn't matter. He pulls me over. He doesn't tell me. Pulls me out of my car, right? And then I get hit with a charge of resisting arrest. And listen, there's plenty of people who've been who that has happened to, right? There's no crime other than being arrested for resisting arrest. Well, what was the crime that I committed to resist arrest?
Yeah, it happened to Freddie Gray, and he ended up dead in
right?
Baltimore.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the point. So how can he obstruct something that he's allowed to do? There's no crime what he did. So there's no obstruction justice.
I guess where you and I disagree is the phrase he was allowed to do that. What you're saying is because no, he's not. You're saying he's allowed to have classified material in his possession. That's not true.
Clinton did the same thing. Obama did the same thing. Freaking Biden did the same thing. We can't sit here and change precedent just because it wasn't the person that we wanted to have documents or classified information now.
So if he was allowed If he was allowed to have classified material, was he also allowed to show it to anybody he wanted to?
If they're in his inner circle, I don't know. That part, you know what I'm saying? Did he declassify?
Okay, so we do potentially have some crimes.
You know what I'm saying?
So we do you got Kid Rock on Howard Stern admitting, like, I saw some shit while hanging with Trump that I even asked him, like, damn, am I supposed to say this? You're okay with that?
How many other presidents have done that, though?
I mean, there were presidents in favor of slavery. How much old shit you gonna bring up?
I'm not talking about old shit. I'm talking about the last 20 years shit. You see what I'm saying? So like, even if that's the only crime, it's not 31 indictments. It's what, 1 or 2?
Well, I'm admitting I haven't read the full indictment.
Right? I mean, because think about what you said. He showed other people these classified information. Okay, so what is that?
Depends on every time he shows it to somebody, that's a new charge. I'm sure Kid Rock ain't the only one that saw it. Every time he does that, he's committing another crime.
Committing another crime that he's allowed to take that information. He's allowed to.
I just asked you personally. Wait a minute. I just asked you personally. Can he show classified material to people who are not supposed to see it? Even you admitted I don't know that. So the point is, even if you're suggesting he was allowed to have it, that doesn't mean you get to go around showing it to everybody. That's the problem.
Okay. Now what's the law on that then?
That could be part of that espionage shit, depending on who you're showing it to.
Okay.
I mean, you want to show.
Did he show it to spies? Did he show it to a different country? Did he show it like? Did he do those things? No, but you have certain people who are American citizens. Kid Rock, for one, right? You sat there. I didn't hear about the Kid Rock stuff. You brought that up. Is Kid
Yeah.
Rock really going to go tell Russia, hey, look at the shit we got? Or, hey, look at the shit we got?
So we're in court now hoping that Kid Rock is credible? I mean, that's where the problem is.
That's my
You
point, though.
can't
So
do
here it
that.
is. Here it is. You know what I'm saying? He's showing people whatever, but was he showing a spy? Was that person a spy for another country? Then you can get espionage.
Well,
Because
and that's the problem. That's why this is an issue, is because you go around showing things. Now we have to find out from the people that you allow to see it who they've been talking with. You don't see how this could be a serious security risk by him just going and showing documents. Who knows what they did with the information? This is a really bad problem for him to be doing this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that. I could see that.
And now we want to put him back in the White House and give him the opportunity to potentially do it again and hope that he won't.
We got somebody, listen, we can go back and forth on this or whatever, and we sit there and say that we're going to possibly put somebody back in the White House, and we put somebody back in the White House in Biden who took $10 million from Ukraine for bribe money. I mean, that's out there, but we don't talk about that. You see what I'm saying? The left doesn't want to talk about that. The right doesn't want to talk about certain things or whatever, right? And the reality is, okay, is that under Trump, things weren't perfect. There's not one perfect president out there. Obama wasn't perfect. Biden, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, going down the freaking line. Trump wasn't perfect.
But that's where the problem of concern comes up, which is why this whole live stream is titled "Is Trump 100% innocent?" Because what I'm noticing when you ask if Trump is 100% innocent, no one's suggesting he's innocent. They're pointing to other people as a defense. Now, remember, Trump.
So, but why are we
Hold
going to
on, wait a minute. Let me preface this. Let me preface it, and I'll let you speak on it. One of the reasons we elected Trump was because he was not a typical insider. He was not a typical politician. But now, the moment he starts doing all kinds of bad stuff, we start pointing to typical politicians. He was supposed to be different and drain the swamp, not become one. So why do we keep pointing to the behaviors of the people that he told us was corrupt to begin with?
Okay. I could see that. But he wasn't a typical politician.
But he's doing typical politician crimes.
No, he's being a human being. So, like, he's like, yo, look at this freaking thing. Like, come on, you never...
Taking home classified material and showing it to musicians, that's being a human being.
Maybe he's known Kid Rock for a long time and trusted him.
I think you're filling in the blanks pro-Trump.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we can sit here and say, yes, he had the classified information. He's allowed to do that, but we're going to charge him on obstruction, which is you can't. That precedent has already been set. Now you want to go and try to espionage or something like that?
But why?
Then fine, go do that. But don't make trumped up charges or whatever because you're trying. Like this is the same shit Obama, Hillary, Biden did, and there's no charges being held against them.
But listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. You're saying Biden, Hillary, and Obama did this stuff. What you're essentially admitting is that Trump became president and started acting like a swamp creature. He is doing what you suggested folks that were part of the swamp was doing. He was supposed to drain the swamp, not become it.
Not everything. And I told you before, I didn't believe that he drained the swamp to where I thought he should have drained the swamp. I said that, but he did. And I told you, he's giving people, look at Mike Pence, right? Showed his true colors. A few other people, Chris Christie, right? All these other Republicans that stated they were on his side. And like I told you, look at the Pence stuff with when he was like, hey, the vice president can sit there and go look at those votes and not veto them, but he was allowed to. And then they changed the law right after that happened. And you're like, well, Mike Pence was getting bad information, but Trump was telling him he could. And didn't do it.
Well, Trump is also telling. I mean, at the end of the day,
that was a fact, though. But that was
Trump
a fact,
has said some. Yeah, but everything Trump says is not 100% honest either.
You're right, he didn't know. But what he did say there was a fact. That was a fact. That's why they changed the law afterwards. They changed the law afterwards.
If Mike Pence said he didn't know, we got to at least get a man credibility. He didn't know to trust Trump or not. He didn't believe him. And his advisors told him that Trump was not telling the truth. So I can't fault Mike Pence. At least he did his homework and tried to find out to his best ability was whether Trump's saying true or not. And everybody he talked to said it wasn't. So he went with his advisors. We're saying he should have ignored all of his advisors and went with Trump.
Okay,
I
so,
mean, that's not, that don't,
but it was fact though. It was fact. That's why they
it
changed
doesn't,
the
it
law
doesn't matter if
afterwards.
it's fact
It
or
does
not. If,
matter.
if,
It does
if
matter
your
though.
doctor, no, if your doctor tells you you got an ailment and you go out and get a second opinion and you pick one of the other doctors and make a decision, you're not a doctor. You don't know. Mike Pence did not
You
know.
want homework
He
about
had
my?
to,
You got
he
so many
had to
trolls in here,
choose.
man. It's straight fact, man. Look it up. Look it up. Just like the Clinton stuff or whatever. Look it up, man. Look it up. Don't sit here and listen to people telling you. Look up. There's documents out there for that stuff.
Well,
There's
history has
documents.
not
There's
proven.
judges. There's everything out there that tell you exactly the whole freaking declassification.
Well,
A
at
president
the
can
end
do
of
what
the
he
day,
wants with that
listen,
information.
Angel, you're talking to
I'm
me, not
listening.
the audience. At
I
the
know.
end of the day, it's been almost 3 years since the election, and history has not suggested that Mike Pence made the wrong decision. There's only a few folks, predominantly MAGA, that think Mike Pence should have did what Trump was asking. But the rest of the Republican Party and all of the liberals and most independents think Mike Pence made the right decision. That's a host of
And it was the wrong
Republicans.
decision. And listen, and that's okay, but it was the wrong decision. That's why they changed that law afterwards. Think about it.
All right.
Think about it,
Well,
though, right?
I don't
They
see
changed
history.
that law
History is not saying that.
afterwards.
History
They
is not suggesting that Mike Pence made the wrong decision. And like I said, a lot of Republicans do
then
not
why
believe
would they
Mike Pence made
change?
the wrong
Then
decision.
why would they change the law afterwards? Why would they
To
change
be
that law
for
right afterwards?
clarity, purposes.
So that means that he was able to do it. There's no clarity. There was nothing in the law that stated that the president couldn't do that. But then once Trump said you can do that, right? And then all of a sudden they changed the law afterwards
All right. I
because there
have
was
not
no
heard that
law.
law. What law are you talking about? I'm gonna do my homework on it. What law are you
The
suggesting
the
that was
the,
changed?
the, the law that the vice president could basically do a recount on the votes and challenge them. They're saying that the vice president couldn't do that. That's where he got his information from. And then
Okay.
they changed that law after that whole thing. They changed the law stating that the vice president has no right to do this, this, and this. That's a fact. I
All
mean, you
right.
look up the information. It's there. Listen, I don't want to argue with people because I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're MAGA. I don't care if you're Republican. If you're a good person to me, you know what I'm saying, and you go out and you treat others with respect, I don't care what your politics are. You know what I'm saying? I really could care
All right.
less.
All right. Fair enough. All right. I gotta move it on, though, man, Angel. You and
All
I
right.
obviously have a disagreement, but you're always welcome
Yeah, I
back, man.
got you,
Come on
man.
back anytime.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. Comments. I have never banned a person or blocked a person over a year. Don't even have a moderator. For you folks who enjoy civilized conversation from both sides of the aisle without fear of being blocked, banned, or censored, follow the program. This is what we generally do. However, today, unfortunately, I had to block somebody for literally the first time. Somebody actually used special keys to put the N-word spelled the way you normally would see it spelled in the most racist way you could spell it in the comment section. So I went ahead and blocked that person. And there was a bunch of different characters. So for folks who are asking who the hell is the person's name, deliberately, scrambled characters, no profile picture, the typical troll kit. If there was a kit on how to be a troll, that person had every damn thing in the box. As always, like I said, I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I enjoy conversation from both sides of the aisle. Hopefully most of you folks do too. We keep it civilized. We may not agree. That's not how American politics works. You have a right to disagree with whoever the hell you want to. But adding comments like that, which adds nothing to the dialogue, yeah, first time for everything. So that person was blocked. All right, looking in the comments, Trump is going to jail. James, I don't know. I think that, listen, Trump between January 6th what's going on now with Jack Smith, between Florida and Letitia up in New York, do I believe he's 100% innocent and all that stuff? No. But at the same time, we are talking about locking up a commander-in-chief. That's a hell of a tall order to achieve. I don't see Trump, currently 76 years of age, I don't see him going to being locked up. Certainly got Secret Service protection. Before we go back to the box, though, I've said this before. There are a host of things, and my last guest pointed out this changing of the law so that Mike Pence could not be put in that type of conundrum again. I believe, and what he pointed out is part of it, that President Trump pushed the envelope so far that there are going to be laws that need to be instituted because they never expected a commander-in-chief to push the envelope like Trump has. What do I mean by that? Well, like what he talked about, not certifying votes, asking your vice president to do it. You need to be clear on that. Can a president pardon himself if he is convicted of a crime? You need to be clear on that because it sounds like Trump investigated doing that. Can you run the country while incarcerated? That is something we never, ever thought we'd have to imagine looking into. That needs to be clarified. Can you run the country as a felon when us voters cannot vote for you as a felon? That needs to be clarified. Once again, all of this is stuff that the founding fathers putting this country together on the honor system never thought we'd even have to investigate this shit. But under President Trump and Trump alone, all of this stuff is becoming a reality. Where, listen, I understand there's a lot of love for Trump, so it's not likely to have a lot of support while Trump is alive or in politics. But if Trump wasn't around, if we proposed this during the Bush administration, Obama administration, and asked these questions, everybody would know their answer. Should a felon be run for office? Most folks would say no. Nowadays, I don't know. Should a person be able to run the country while incarcerated? Before Trump, we would have had a solid answer for that. Should you be able to pardon yourself if you're convicted of a crime? We would have had a solid answer for that. If you are under investigation, should you be able to tell your administration not to respond to subpoenas and shit like that? We would have had a solid answer for this stuff. But under the Trump administration, it has become quite hazy. They need to clarify all of that stuff. They need to clarify all of that. The days of living on the honor system and expecting the commander-in-chief to act a certain way, such as Richard Nixon, when he was caught, he kind of stepped down. Don't expect that anymore. You don't know what a commander-in-chief might do. So they need to clarify what happens when folks are under these situations, because I strongly believe, whether you think Trump is guilty or not, he has pushed us in a direction where folks never thought we would be pushed. He's made us, folks who suggest that Trump woke us up, he woke you up also to what could happen. So they need to clarify that. Looking in the comments, Diaper Donnie gotta go. Diaper Donnie's not, Diaper Donnie? Wow. Can't run it under an honor system because Trump has no water? I'm assuming you mean honor. Appreciate the rose there, James. Looking in the comments here. That's why they're investigating, yeah. Why the FBI being held in contempt of Congress? How is the FBI being held in contempt? What did Congress ask for that the FBI refused to give, didn't give, or lied about? Yeah, Naeem Barber says, yeah, it's weird how easy it was to get people to do the illusion of decorum. Fair enough. I'll be glad what I come off of suspension. Takesha! I didn't know that. Takesha Blue, certainly a friend of the program. Always one of the most spirited commentators, certainly in the box. Hopefully you'll come out soon. Look forward to hearing from you again. The law says a president can pardon themselves. Yeah, Cheryl in Kentucky, that needs to be changed. I don't see how that ever was allowed. Why would you be allowed to pardon yourself? Now, I will suggest this, and I'm taking it to a racial aspect when I'm not sure racism should even be brought up. But I'm going to bring it up, and you guys can tell me to go to hell in the comments. I always invite that. During the days of the Founding Fathers, you could do a hell of a lot of things to people that were legally against the law. To African Americans, for instance, and there was a lot of cases where things happened to African Americans, and the folks perpetrating these crimes were not held accountable. You've seen the Emmett Tills and all of those type of stories. Well, if the president was over slaves, like Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. In fact, Thomas Jefferson, I believe he impregnated a 14-year-old. That doesn't come up much through history, but I believe you can Google it and actually get the person's name, and it has been proven valid through DNA. So they were able to trace the ancestry of the 14-year-old and prove that Thomas Jefferson impregnated a 14-year-old. And that doesn't, like I said, it doesn't come up through history. But certainly would be good if somebody tried to hold him accountable and he needed to have a pardon. So I believe it's possible that they were the elite and they knew that they had power like no other. They were trying to give themselves a way out. I believe that might be one reason why they didn't state from the very beginning that if your ass is under investigation, you can't pardon yourself. That's ridiculous that in 2023, that has not been removed from law. All right, going back to the box. Rod Blagojevich went to prison, so Trump went to prison, so should Trump if he's found guilty. Well, there's a big difference between locking up a governor, and I'm from Illinois, and I was living in Illinois when Rod Blagojevich was arrested. But we've also had Jim Ryan, I think, what was his name, Edgar. I mean, Illinois has had a lot of corrupt governors. Blagojevich ain't the first one to be indicted or go to prison. There's been a bunch of other ones. What made Blagojevich well known is he was an outspoken person, boisterous in his comments, and he supported Trump. And Trump ultimately pardoned Blagojevich, but there's been a lot of Illinois governors that have been incarcerated. Going back to the box, we'll make it happen with Elisa. Afternoon. Welcome to the program. Trump 100% innocent. What say you?
He is 100% needs to go to trial. And I think what's the most sad part about this whole thing is a whole lot of Americans are not taking the time to read 49 pages of documents before they come on anyone's show. This is super important. These were top secret documents, classified documents. There are different levels.
What if they're not reading it? What if they're not reading the indictment because they don't believe the feds are credible?
We have never seen an indictment with pictures, actual information as to what the documents are, dates, witness testimonies. This indictment was very thorough, and it really does contain some scary information. You cannot, as any kind of a citizen, pass around nuclear documents to whoever you want to. I don't care if you were president before, after. If you've done that, you should have your day in court. I'm not saying he's guilty, but he should have to go to court and prove that he's not done any of it.
What about my last caller? One of my last callers suggesting that other presidents have done similar stuff, so it's unfair to go after Trump.
Then you have to bring that evidence to court. It has to be brought to court. They have to bring it. I mean, nobody cares about that. If they've committed a crime, then they should have to go to court for that. The problem is the documents that are under investigation by Biden are still being investigated. If they're found to be top secret, which means the highest of national security, and people should not get confused, top secret means that it endangered the national security of every person in this country. It's not supposed to get out for everyone to see. We're not going to ever see those documents, and we should not, because they could endanger people here.
And that's going to present a problem too, is because you're right. If they are that sensitive, they'll never be seen. But when we're accusing Trump of having documents that were of the utmost, sensitive nature, but we're not showing you the documents for obvious reasons. People are going to believe the feds are lying. If the documents are that damn sensitive, we need to know exactly what they are because you're making stuff up. That's what you're going to hear. So the fact that this is going to be shrouded in secrecy to some degree is going to cause further conspiratorial folks to come out the woodwork.
Well, that's where I differ. I don't think any of it is shrouded in secrecy. That document, the indictment listed, he gave up documents to 8 different government agencies. I have
Mm.
no idea what the National Office of Reconnaissance is for. I've never even heard of that. He gave up records from that department, and I guarantee you that's some spy stuff or
Yeah,
whatever our
well,
spy
yeah,
people have been
because
doing it.
the name makes it clear what they're doing. So, yeah, I've never heard of them either.
So when you list the actual agencies that he compromised, that's serious information. I don't feel like Smith has not gone by the book whatsoever. He dotted the T's and he's crossed the I's. Now we can choose not to go in there and read this information, but you're only being unfair to all Americans by not protecting our security. And this
Yeah,
is our security. It's not about Trump's documents. It's about our security.
yeah. So
Iran did not even
you do
know
see
whether
Trump.
we want to use them or not.
You do see Trump as putting a lot of Americans at risk. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Do you see a reason to disqualify Trump from ever being in office again?
If he is convicted, I think they should remove his security and they should put him in Colorado Supermax
You trying to get the
until
man
he serves his
killed?
time. He has, we do not know what documents he still has out there. There are still missing documents. He can talk, and he should not be allowed to do that. It's just not
But wait
right.
a minute. Let me make sure I heard that clear. If Trump is convicted in court, he should lose his Secret Service protection and be placed in Chicago Supermax.
No,
Did I hear that
Colorado
correct?
Supermax. The Colorado Supermax. That is the
Colorado,
same
Colorado.
prison
Yeah,
that El
yeah.
Chapo was in, the most secure prison in
God.
America,
You
where
do
he
realize
can't
his
talk to
safety.
no one.
You do realize his safety would be in danger in Colorado Supermax, right?
No, that is the most secure prison in America. He will be watched 24/7 from a cell on video camera. He won't be going anywhere and he won't be talking to nobody.
Ain't that where the shoe bomber is located?
I do believe so, as well as El Chapo. That is the most secure prison in America, next to
Damn.
Leavenworth. But, hey,
Jesus. That is utter disgrace if he ends up. Oh my God. I don't think that'll ever happen, but damn, the fact that you even suggested it, that's about as bad. That's where they're putting terrorists, so that's about as bad as it gets. But Elisa, moving on. But that was an
thank you, Hanson.
enlightening
Normally I
conversation.
don't come in to speak, but this is serious. And again, everyone, please go read the indictment. That's all you need to do.
Fair enough. Good talk. You're always welcome back. All right. Looking in. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Show your boy the 3-digit number. We're close enough to 100,000 that I definitely believe if you don't let your thumbs be lazy, we could cross the 100,000 mode in 100,000 number in terms of likes. So show your boy some love. A crime is a crime, no matter who commits it. Marshall Green, I do agree with that. I do agree with that as well. Trump and Supermax, though. Jesus Christ. A former commander-in-chief, Colorado Supermax, right there with other high-level terrorists. That is a serious fall from grace. Hunter, appreciate the heart. 38 of those things, whatever they mean, appreciate you folks helping your boy get. I don't know what those hearts mean up there, but 38 of them have come through, and Hunter just gave me one, so thank you. Appreciate that anytime you guys do that. Trump was in power. He is vengeful. He is vengeful. If he had evidence against Obama, Clinton, he would put them away. Cedric, I've asked that question numerous times, and I agree with you 100% that Trump was letting his supporters yell "lock her up" in virtually every rally he was holding across America. And the notion that he had the goods on Hillary Clinton but deliberately chose not to prosecutor for the good of the country. I don't buy that. I do believe if he had something on the Clintons where he could have had them locked up, I think he would have. Otherwise, why go around the country saying it? So, yeah, I kind of agree with you with that. It's funny that Democrats fear Trump so much, like the truth. Well, Keith, they do fear Trump. They do fear Trump. Liberals do fear Trump. I don't know if I would suggest Mookie. Appreciate the shades. Mookie got your boy looking like a pimp. I will say this. There's a lot of reasons to fear President Trump getting elected. Similar to a lot of folks fear President Biden getting reelected. If you support the LGBT community, you're going to tell me there's no difference if Trump follows up Biden? Trump has a totally different direction he wants to take America in for LGBT folks. A lot of African Americans have their own opinion of where the direction Trump's going to take the country in. We talk about the economy. We talk about pro-life versus pro-choice. There's a lot of reasons to be fearful of Trump that have nothing to do with the truth, draining the swamp, or exposing corruption. He has policies in place. Just like Biden, he has an agenda. And if you lean to the other side of the aisle, the agenda is not for you. So it's not just fear of him exposing shit. Looking in the comments, it doesn't make sense supporting Trump and being black because he is the biggest racist, says John Andre, I can't pronounce the Italian last name, but African American support for Trump. He has had more support from the African American community than both Bush and Ronald Reagan. So in terms of Republican presidents in most of our lifetime, Trump has done better. Now, in regards to Trump being black, being a racist and things like that, there are legitimate arguments to make. But everybody votes based on their own personal issues. And there are African Americans that are well off and they care about the economy. There are Christian African Americans that care about religion. There are folks who are African American that are pro-life. There are reasons to still support Trump being African American. And he has done better with African Americans, even though he's nowhere near what the Democratic candidates do. But he has done better in comparing him to previous Republican candidates. Looking back in the comments, Trump connected Russia's highest mafia leader. I cannot pronounce that name for decades. Trump is connected to one of the highest mafia leaders in Russia. That's what you're saying. That doesn't necessarily mean he is guilty of anything. I get how suspect it looks, but I mean, there's a hell of a lot of political leaders that have been connected to everybody from John Gotti to, the mob. President John F. Kennedy, for instance, he was highly known to be connected to members of the mafia. He still is reviewed as a great president. So just because you know someone does not always mean their character rubs off on you, but you make a good point. What it says, Tapes handsome. Sadie, what do you mean by tapes? Maybe they're just friends, says Larry. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, hell, I'm from the south side of Chicago. I've never been arrested. And I know a lot of folks who dealt drugs and shit like that. Hell, I had friends I know that have committed murders. I haven't done anything like that. So, yeah, you're not always responsible for what your friends do. Trump does not respect the military. He doesn't like the wounded and maimed for some reason. What has Trump said about wounded and maimed veterans? I have not heard that. Now, I know it said war heroes do not get captured, which could be a dig at the POWs and KIAs. I know he talked about some shit that pissed off a Gold Star family. I know he said General Miley or whatever his name is was the most overrated general in I mean, he said some bad shit, but I don't know about the wounded and maimed. I've not heard that one. Appreciate that crown that came in. I cannot see who sent that in there, but I do appreciate that. Thank you for that. Flapjacks, Joe. Tell him something, Joe. Appreciate that. Thank you. He's guilty of all charges. And please stop calling him the president. He lost that privilege. He has not been convicted of a damn crime yet. I'm not saying he's innocent, but until he's convicted, you can't take away the man's accolades. We still call all former presidents, former senators, former governors by their titles. He still has that right until he's convicted. We can't take that away just yet. If we do that, we're no better than other folks who tried to do that to others, to the likes of Hillary Clinton, for instance. She's still known as the secretary, Madam Secretary. You can't just take people's shit away without due process. What president ever said anything negative about soldiers, says Stephen Bullock? Well, like I pointed out, when Trump said, my war heroes don't get captured, that's a dig at the POWs. Now, he was only trying to aim that at Senator McCain, the late senator. Whoa, Joe, thank you. That boxing robe there, I didn't think I've ever seen that before. Thank you. Yeah, when he said my war heroes do not get captured, he was actually in a personal battle with John McCain. And you know Trump likes to punch very hard. Well, sometimes you can hit the person behind you. And what he did was taken as an insult to a lot of POWs. Same thing with suggesting that Milley was the most overrated general in U.S. history. That guy has combat experience. So folks who served under him in combat did not like what Trump had to say. So Trump, running his mouth as usual, pissed off a lot of people. You keep saying president instead of former. We don't say former President Obama. I call every commander-in-chief, former or current, president. That's what we normally do. You think if Barack Obama was walking around the city of Chicago shaking it, you think people would be yelling out former? No, they would call him President Obama. That's just what we do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, officially he is a former president. I get it. He's running for office, so a lot of folks, the last thing they want to dream of is having him have that title again. So you want to call him former. I understand why you're correcting me, but that is how we speak on folks, is we call them by their titles. That's what we've always done. Former piece of shit. Says we probe it every day. Get mugged if you do. Trump's mouth has caught up to him. I agree with that 100%. I've said before that I believe the only reason Trump is dealing with all of this shit is because of his mouth. If Trump was a personable leader, if he had conceded the election after, well, first of all, if Trump wasn't running his mouth, he'd be serving a second term. He would be serving a second term if he wasn't doing all of that stuff. But if after losing, if he had conceded, I don't think all of this stuff would be happening. I think he's pissed off a lot of high-level people. He really has. I mean, now remember, even if you support Trump, you voted for him because his goal, according to him, was to drain the swamp, to expose corruption, to name names. Think about that. Imagine going for a job as a policeman, as a fireman, as a teacher, and telling the Board of Education, the chief of police or whatever, if you hire me, I'll come in and I will expose all the bad cops on your force. I'll help you drain the bad cops. I'll name names and help you get rid of all of the waste on the force. You think the cops are going to you think the other cops, your other peers, are going to cooperate with your ass? You're going to have problems from day one as an officer if that is the goal and your intent and you don't state that out loud. I'm going to come on the force and snitch on everybody. That's what Trump promised, is he was going to come to Washington and snitch on every damn body. And now that things have went south for the former commander-in-chief, he is suggesting that, well, they never gave me a chance from day one. My rebuttal would be, why would you expect them to? You promised to get everybody fired and held accountable and point out corruption. Why would you expect these people to work with you? That makes no sense at all. Now, as a constituent, as a voting citizen, yeah, we want a president, a leader that's going to expose corruption. We all want that. But that ain't the way you get that shit done. As a commander-in-chief, you need the Senate. You need Congress. You need governors around the country to help you with your agenda. Trump is a businessman. As folks would suggest, he's not a typical politician. You can go into a business and fire members of the board that you think are corrupt or that are wasteful for the company. You don't need anybody if you're the head of the company to implement your agenda. That doesn't work like that in Washington. You need these people The very people you're promising to snitch on. That's why he's also having a hell of a lot of problems with people in his own damn party. Nobody likes a snitch. That's how that works. And he's promising that if he's reelected, he's going to still run a campaign on snitching. That doesn't have to mean you hate Trump or you like Trump. That's just literally understanding the mechanics behind snitching. Nobody likes a fucking snitch. You're not going to go in Washington promising to upset the lives of senators and Congress people who think they got a free ride for the rest of their lives and then expect them to help you out with your agenda? Who the hell are you? You'll be gone in 8 years. I plan on being there for the rest of my life. Thumbs down, as John McCain once did. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you tuning into the live. The participation has been off the chain. Had over 1,400 of you guys here at one point. It's been steady, well up in the hundreds. As always, it's always a pleasure maintaining these conversations with you. I always make the solemn promise on every broadcast. We never block, ban, or censor anyone for their damn commentary. You don't have to agree with yours truly. We never hold you responsible where you got to agree with the host. That ain't how we do it here. You're allowed to speak. Program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. I know some of my liberals don't like that, but MAGA, whether you agree or not, are entitled to speak. You don't have a right to tell somebody they can't speak. So I always make sure everybody knows that you have a right to speak here. Nevertheless, I do got to run a few errands. Appreciate the heart, Kim. And some of you folks have even been generous to your boy. Thank you for that. 39 or whatever these hearts up there in the top mean. I don't know what they mean, but thank you. It's liberal. You are so confused. Pick a side. That's the problem, Cheryl. That is the problem, is we are in a tribalistic environment where you cannot be moderate, where you got to pick a damn side. What about the possibility that there are good points, good policies being proposed from both sides, and you want to pick and choose the ones that you think makes the country better? Why do I have to be all the way on the left or all the way on the right? I can name you a host of things that I believe both the left and the right are doing that are not in the best interest of this country. I don't want to pick a side. I want to pick what's best. Is that a problem? I want to pick what is best, not a side. Looking in the comments, handsome, look up Derek Johnson. He will educate you. I always love being educated. That's why I always talk to the folks. A lot of you folks educate your boy, and hopefully occasionally I can return the favor. Nevertheless, it is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go. Catch you guys on the next one.